Tokyo waits. Let's make it legendary. Yay, to the food stalls. Next up, fashion. We need upgrades. Ah, power suit.
What do we all think about that? Elon Musk looks very Japanese, doesn't he? Doesn't he look very Japanese? Sorry about the late start. It was slightly delayed. And then when I started going, for some reason, like I stream on a bunch of different platforms. I stream on YouTube. I stream on Rumble. I stream on Kick, Twitch, Locals. Where else? Facebook and Instagram and X. But I don't know what happened on Facebook today. It was saying, my feed was saying it was for only me. It was like private. I'm like, what? What is going on? So I don't know what. I've been having issues with them, so I just deleted it, and that's why it was a little long, the intro. But hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm Jim, and I'm here to tell you some news. I want to thank everybody who's here. I know if anyone was looking earlier tonight, it was originally scheduled for 7, but then something happened. It got pushed back to 8. So we'll see if that pays off. Hey, Catherine K. Hello. Great to see you. Says, hello, Jim and Jim Somniacs. Tom Bravo's here. Says, Jim tells you the number one news podcast on the internet. Well, hi. Thanks, Tom Bravo. I don't know. That's that's some big shoes I have to fill. That's some, very, I don't know, man. That's a, oof. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know if that's, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's some high praise. G Sharkman's here. What's up, buddy? Great to see you. Snarf's here. Awesome to see you. Karen, all hail all. What's up to see you, Karen? Great to see you. Mr. Sneaky Sean's here too. Snarf says the ibuprofen's kicking in. Karen O says Robert was starting at 1800 tonight rather than 1700. Did he start with a new time? I think he was just delayed because he moved recently and he was getting some stuff worked out for the stuff. And delays obviously says 8. I'm like, yes, I know. I said 8, but it's a little late. So warming up the vacuum tubes. That's right. Yes, live. All right. Good evening, Jim and chat. Noem Ryder. Great to see you. All right. Who else is here? KPT. What's up? Awesome seeing you. Happy Tuesday, everybody. And then American Dreamer with 20 says, chat, Jim Bella, thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll just start it off right there and just say, with that 20, that means we are now 80 away from adding a first extra hour to the show and 30 away from Bellavision. Because the way the show works is it goes for about 2 hours or so, unless of course we hit $100 across all platforms, YouTube, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, Ko-fi, Ko-fi, Cash App, PayPal, Super Tips, Locals Coins, gifted memberships for becoming members on YouTube, Locals, Rumble, Twitch, and Kick, or gifting memberships. Unless we hit $50, then we activate Bellavision for the evening. There's Bella just chilling out there. And then if we hit 50, we activate Bellavision. But as an added bonus, if any individual person makes a single donation of $25 or greater, we automatically activate Bellavision for the evening. So if American Dreamer was to donate another $25, another $5, that would automatically activate Bellavision. Because I try to keep track of what people donate, and when they hit 25 as an individual, I activate Bellavision. So, and then let's see who else is here. And then she says, I know I broke but thank you so much, American Dreamer, for the $20. Broke your neck trimming a limb from a tree. Oh my God, I hope you're okay. Wow. Godzilla is great. Yes. This amazing disgrace says KB just put in a bid from a raid from Govea. Awesome. Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. Juggling, not your bag. No, I'm not a juggler. Never been good at it. KB is a soldier. Yes, she is. Sweet girl Bella. Yes, she's there. She is definitely. So yeah, so if we hit the 25 or 50, whatever it works, we'll activate Bellavision. But unfortunately, we didn't hit it yet. We'll pull that down. I don't want to take everybody. We're going to jump into some news. The banners, there's good. And that. And there she goes. Oh, she said, I'll put it in. So there we go. So that with that 5, that is Bellavision activated for the evening. Thank you so much, American Dreamer. Sweet girl Bella. Yeah, so we'll keep her now. So with that means we are now $75 away from adding the first additional hour to the show. Thank you, everybody. Man, I got a little frog in my throat tonight. I don't understand why I'm having so much difficulties these days with getting the awesomeness, just getting stuff to work right. I got like issues with everything electronic. Everything electronic is, you love Bella, I love Bella too. It's just giving me problems. Why stuff doesn't work and it decides not to work all of a sudden and cause issues. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't. So we'll see. Yes, thank you, American Dreamer. All right, well, let's jump into the first news story of the day. This is not working right. CIA. You think it's the CIA, Andy Gorski? You think the CIA cares about little old me? I mean, I hope someday the CIA is worried about me, but not yet. Not yet. I mean, I need to grow a little before they start worrying about me. Yes, doing okay. Thanks, screwed head back on, though. Feeling boxed in is the pits. Wow. Did you have like a brace? Did you have like one of those things where you're all like what I can't remember what it's called, where they got all the stuff that holds you together and like a frame holding your head to keep it from moving, all that stuff. Man, that's all right. There we go. That's better, right, for Bella. But let's do this. You had a halo. That's what's called a halo. Halo. Yeah. Halo. Yeah, you had a halo. Let's see. All right. Let's do this. We'll say, what's this? First news story of the evening is Supreme Court rules 8-1 against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy for minors, which this is calling it conversion therapy is not really accurate in my opinion. This was just people like wanted to talk to people to try to talk them out of gender mutilation, stuff like that. My son is visiting and setting up voice commands for me and fixing my electronics. I'm already confused. I don't like the voice command stuff because to me, it's always listening to you then. Guess who is the one vote? Oh, yes. It's Ketanji Brown. I don't know what a woman is, Jackson. Yes, it is. This is, I mean, but it's got to alert. It's got to make everybody go, whoa, wait a minute. When even Elena Kagan had to like clap back at her in her concurring opinion. Yeah, it's creepy, isn't it? It is creepy when it's listening to you. Like, my phone will do it, and like the problem too is my grandson, who's 3 years and 4 months old. He knows how to do it on the Roku remote, so he'll grab the Roku remote and start talking to it to put on what he wants. So yeah. She wrote a 35-page dissent, and the opinion was only 18 pages, I think, or something like that. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Hey, Lady Bama, great to see you. Thanks for being here tonight. It don't make no sense. Yeah. So the U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled 8-1. Wait, so they want conversion therapy? The Supreme Court ruled that you can't ban conversion therapy because it's just talking. It's viewpoint discrimination because you're not banning people from you're not banning doctors and counselors from telling people they need to change their gender, so you can't ban people from saying you shouldn't change your gender. It's viewpoint discrimination. It's settled case law that's been around since the founding of the country. FYI, the neck-breaking sound is just like heard in the movies. Oh, my God. Yeah, talk. It's just talking. It's just talking. That's it. It's just talking. Yeah. Jackson gives new meaning to the word nitwit. Yes, she does. So the U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled 8-1 against Colorado's conversion therapy ban for LGBTQ minors. Liberal justice, I wouldn't call her a liberal, I would say leftist justice, Ketanji Brown, I don't know what a woman is, Jackson, dissented. The lawsuit was filed by Christian talk therapist Kaylee Childs. Kaylee Childs argued, what's up, child? Argued that Colorado's ban on talk therapy methods violated her First Amendment rights. Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, she says, I don't understand or I'm confused more than any justice in the history of the world. No pain? No pain, really? It didn't hurt? Oh my God, it's hurting me just thinking about it. Kaylee Childs argued that Colorado's ban on her talk therapy message violated her First Amendment rights because just it does. Childs counsels children and minor teens struggling with gender identity issues. Justice Gorsuch agreed and said Colorado's ban on certain talk therapy methods censors speech based on viewpoint. Under our precedents, bedrock First Amendment principles have far less salience when the speakers are medical professionals, Justice Jackson wrote. So she thinks because somebody is a medical professional, they don't get to talk. How can someone who doesn't know what a woman is on the case? I don't know. I would think she would have to recuse herself. NBC News reported in a blow to LGBTQ rights, the Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled that Colorado's ban on conversion therapy aimed at youth struggling with their sexual orientation or gender identity violates the free speech rights of a conservative Christian therapist. I mean, I think it runs straight into that. It also runs into, well, what about churches and pastors and priests and nuns and, clerics, rabbis, imams. If they want to tell them something, medical professionals. Yeah, medical professionals, right. An 8-1 decision in favor of therapist Kaylee Childs on her claim brought under the Constitution's First Amendment is likely to have national implications. More than 20 states have similar laws. It could also have an impact on other forms of medical treatment that involve speech. Writing for the majority, Justice Neil Gorsuch said the First Amendment stands as a shield against any effort to enforce orthodoxy in thought or speech in this country. Yes, truth is not always pleasant. Yes, it's not. Colorado's law does not just ban physical interventions, Gorsuch wrote. It also censors speech based on viewpoint. In deciding the case, the court embraced Child's argument that the Colorado law banning conversion therapy regulates speech, not conduct, as Colorado had argued. As such, the measure is not like other healthcare regulations that focused on conduct, the court concluded. The case, decided on the Global Transgender Day of Visibility, will now return to the lower courts. Oh, the Global Transgender Day of Visibility. I don't think any of us have any problem seeing transgender people. I mean, let's be real here. We see them. They're there. You can't miss them. They don't need a day of visibility. They're visible every day. Every day. Treat uneducated children on what's right. Yeah, trust uneducated children on what's right. Yeah. Oh, well. That's, what you going to do, What you going to do? What you going to do? Seems like, I don't know. Seems like maybe they, that's too big. I guess that's it. That's where I can put it. I don't have any other options there. Oh, you know what I forgot to do, folks? We've been going 16 minutes and I never started a goal on YouTube. So let me do that right now. It totally slipped my mind. I didn't do it. Let me start it up. 20 super chats for 2 hours. So we'll do this. I totally forgot. That's on me. So right off the bat, we're getting at least an extra 20 minutes on the show because that's the way it works. I got to do this and this. I don't know. Should I do? I don't know. Because we already have Bellavision. All right. Well. Whatever. I don't know. I have it programmed in there for this, and now it looks weird because it says for every 100 total donations across all platforms, including memberships, the show will be extended by 1 hour. Bellavision will be activated when 50 or an individual donation of 25 or greater, and since we already hit that, we're actually only 75 away from. So I don't know. It is what it is. It is. They could have found a better Supreme Court justice at hot dog stand. Yeah. Probably. So whatever. What's it say? Dump effing America. What a loser. Okay, I don't know what that means. Wait, what? Wait for what? I already screwed. I mean, we already got Bellavision activated. I should have programmed it in. Wait, what about interference with parents' rights even before the First Amendment? Well, the parents would have a right, you know what I mean, to take their kid there if that's what they wanted. But I mean, it's just they were trying to say that they're regulating the conduct of the therapist, not the speech of the therapist, or they weren't really interfering with parents' rights or something like that. Because, what's it say? Audrey says, January 6th was embarrassing and shameful. I can't believe I supported the same president candidate as the rioters. It wasn't a good idea to vote for a felon who was found liable for sexual abuse. Oh, Audrey, that's terrible that you feel that way. Unfortunately for you, none of that stuff is true. Because Joe Biden wasn't on the ballot this time. Joe Biden was, not found, and Trump was never found was not a felon found liable for anything. Sorry, it's not what the court ruled, and technically he's not a felon because they dismissed the case before he was sentenced to anything. So, and it was a political witch hunt, by the way. So, here's a report from the Federalist: 8-1 SCOTUS nukes egregious Colorado ban on therapists helping gender-confused clients. It says, one's born with unalienable rights not created by man nor constitutional bill of rights. That's right. What does it say? Cicada coronaviruses, maybe allergies? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Anybody, and I want to tell everybody what we talked about last night about the solar storm. They have updated it, and they are predicting very good visible auroras all the way down to mid-latitudes in the country. So if you're in the Midwest, all the way across, like probably as far south as a minimum of Kansas City, maybe a little further south, you should see them. That's what they're predicting right now. So if you're in, anywhere north of, I would say, Nashville-ish area, you should probably see good auroras tonight. If you go out and don't see them with your naked eye, go out with your phone and take a video of the sky with your phone, because your phone will actually pick up the lights that you can't see with your eyes, and you'll be able to see them better on your phone. Amazing disgrace is the J6 committee destroyed the evidence, and the committee was preemptively pardoned for a reason. It was a sham, and only fools fell for it. I 100% agree with you. The Constitution does not only protect the right of some to speak freely, it protects the right of all. It safeguards not only popular ideas, it secures even and especially the right to voice dissenting views. That's right. Far out, no pun. That's right. And tap that like button. Yes, please tap the like button. Tap it in. Why wouldn't you want to tap the like button? Use the Aurora filter on your phone. Is there an Aurora filter on your phone? I didn't know there. Is there one, or are you messing with me? Sorry, we probably lost you a viewer. Well, you can't please everybody all the time. How much have I missed? Greetings, slamming the like right now. Well, thank you, Genome Editor. You haven't missed much. We're on the first story of the evening. This topic might, I don't know. This might interest you. The Supreme Court ruled 8-1 that you cannot ban people from talking to people about maybe not chopping their genitals off. The Supreme Court ruled against a Colorado ban on therapists helping gender-confused clients find their way out of a radical transgender ideology in an 8-1 opinion Tuesday. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote for the majority in the Childs v. Salazar. Says, on my way home in a monsoon, have a bag of pierogies, and I'm not sharing. I love pierogies. I love pierogies. Now I'm hungry. Colorado talk therapist Kaylee Childs challenged a law restricting her ability to provide gender-confused clients with care that seeks to resolve such confusion rather than advance it. Like, why would you want to advance confusion when you can fix it? Like, seems crazy to me that anyone would want to stop people from trying to talk people out of doing something drastic and permanent to their body. Colorado's law banning conversion therapy, as applied to Ms. Child's talk therapy, regulates speech based on viewpoint. And lower courts erred by failing to apply sufficient rigorous First Amendment scrutiny. In his opinion, says, that's atrocious. Won't they make the 40% 100% now? I don't know. Didn't the Supreme Court ban female castration? How is this different? I thought they did. I thought they said that was completely legal. But see, that's a procedure. That's a procedure. This is just talking. Like, they didn't say that a court couldn't ban you from doing stuff, or from the medical procedures, like the state. Previously, they said that states could ban actual gender mutilation surgeries because that's procedure. States can ban that. They can, but they can't ban talking. They couldn't ban, Florida couldn't ban doctors advising people to get gender affirming care. They just can ban them actually performing the stuff. Yeah, 60% of the time it works every time. Yes. Yeah. That's a great cologne. One's body is private property. Yeah. Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only justice to dissent. Welcome, watchers. Yes, thank you so much to the watchers that came over. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much, all the watchers here. We're just getting into the first news story for the people that just joined. And this is about the Supreme Court's ruling on gender-affirming care. On talk therapy for gender conversion therapy. So why ban talk therapy to help a person not wanting the surgery? Well, because they don't want anybody trying to talk anybody out of it. That's the thing. These states say, oh, no, you can't try to talk anybody out of anything. Hey, Gavea Raid, thank you. They banned talking in public if you're close to a baby murdering factory. Yes, they did, which I don't see how that's per se legal. So conversion therapy is a leftist term Colorado used to describe any professional medical treatments that seek to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity. Essentially, a 2019 law used the state's licensing power to enact an affirmation-only approach. So they could only affirm it. They can only say, yes, chop it off. Yes, chop it off. That's all they could do. Instead, requiring doctors and therapists to provide acceptance, support, and understanding for identity exploration and development. I imagine if somebody was schizophrenic or had multiple personality disorders and they told psychiatrists, you can't try to, tell people they are not truly a lizard or they're not a cat or a dog or, they're not really, Maria Antoinette reincarnated. You have to convince them and you have to, go along with it. Imagine if they did that. Just imagine. Yeah, they only want counseling to talk them. Yeah, they want to allow counseling to talk them out of it. Yeah, well, that's what they want. They want to talk them out of it. They don't want to do it. Yes, welcome. We love Rob. Yes, it worked. Thank you, K Bean. Thank you for everything you do. I really appreciate it. The public schools have been pushing this narrative and confusing kids. Isn't the same as the '60s gay conversions. Yeah, the thing where they would go, like the gay conversion things, they would go and kidnap the kids basically or whatever. The parents would have them kidnapped and taken somewhere and then basically. I don't know. But that I think is, you could probably do that because you're taking possession of people. Hey, boom, shakalaka, OG, great to see you. How you doing? Yeah. So they have to provide acceptance, support, and understanding for identity exploration and development and assistance to a person undergoing gender transition. It's just nuts, man. It's nuts. The First Amendment stands as a bulwark against any effort to prescribe an orthodoxy of views, reflecting a belief that each American enjoys an inalienable right to speak his mind and a faith in the free marketplace of ideas as the best means for finding truth. Laws like Colorado's, which suppress speech based on viewpoint, represent an egregious assault on both commitments. Describing a scenario in which Childs would have been restricted in helping clients, Gorch has explained. Colorado seeks to regulate the content of Ms. Child's speech. When it comes to issues of human sexuality, some of her clients are content with their sexual identity and orientation and want to help only with social issues or family relations. But other clients seek her counsel on how to reduce or eliminate unwanted sexual attractions, change sexual behaviors, or grow in the experience of harmony with their bodies. And in those cases, Colorado regulates how Ms. Childs may respond. Under its law, she may not speak in any way that attempts to change a client's sexual orientation or gender identity. Including a client's behaviors or gender expressions. So, how would that law not stop people from trying? I don't understand. If it was content neutral, it wouldn't allow people to tell people, maybe you're gender confused. Maybe you should do this. Yes. Yeah, see, Gino Editor's right. This is why you must have kids, Snarf. Don't let the loonies outbreed you. Your aunt was taken to the basement of a church for talk therapy for 3 hours a week. She's 76 and married to my mom's sister. Didn't work. Well, I don't have an answer for that. I don't. It says, or in any way that seeks to eliminate or reduce a client's sexual or romantic attraction or feelings towards individuals of the same sex. It's beyond simply regulating child speech, Gorsuch says the law goes a step further, proscribing what she views she may or may not express. Hey, thanks. Thanks, is that Lucille or Seven Lucille? Thanks for being here. Solid fine. Thank you. I hope she's happy too. I really do. I just want everybody happy. I have no problem with what consenting adults do at all. At all. I don't care. It's none of my business what consenting adults do in their bedroom. It's not. And I thought that's what everyone wanted. I thought that's what they said. Stay out of our bedroom. Leave us alone. I thought that's what everyone wanted. Now it seems like they don't want that. They want to be in everybody's face. We have a story a little later tonight about something that happened to an NBA player who just tried to profess his belief in Christianity, and then now he's been cut from the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, it's not for everyone, I assume. Well, it's not for everyone, but it is what it is. For a gay client, Ms. Childs may express acceptance and support and understanding for the facilitation of identity exploration. For a client undergoing gender transition, Ms. Childs may likewise offer words of assistance. But if a gay or transgender client seeks her counsel in the hopes of changing his sexual orientation or gender identity, Ms. Childs cannot provide it. The Trump administration asked the court to rule in favor of Childs on free speech grounds. The court found that Colorado's law, as applied to Childs, regulates speech. However, as Childs is not licensed in the state to prescribe medication or perform surgeries, Colorado's forced affirmation still applies to medical professionals who can. So if you can prescribe medicine or something like that, they can force you to how you talk, I guess. I don't know. What's to say? Seven Seal says, the way I see is we have freedom of liberty, freedom of happiness. Adults manipulating children and pretending it's not assistance while brainwashing them is a violating of that freedom of liberty. I agree. Christians are marginalized now. Where's my equity card? I don't know, right? Colorado and dissent fundamentally misconceived this court's speech incident to conduct precedents. The Constitution does not protect the right of someone to speak. The Constitution does not protect the right of some to speak freely. It protects the right of all. Correct. Everyone has the right to speak freely. It safeguards not only popular ideas, it secures even and especially the right to voice dissenting opinions and views. Consistent with these principles, our precedents have expressly rejected the state and dissent's notion that professional speech represents some separate category of speech, subject to diminished constitutional protection. Supreme Court's decision in Childs reverses the judgment of the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, which previously ruled against Childs and remands the case for further proceedings consistent with today's opinion. It follows the 6-3 decision last year in Skermeti, where the court found laws prohibiting transgender medical interventions to be constitutional. So, yeah, you can prevent it, but you can't force people to do it. What's it say? Former Portlandia CEO chief police actually sobbed when ICE apprehended TRA gang members operating a prostitution ring. Yeah, that sucks. Was he getting paid off? That's a good question. Was he getting paid off? And this story is basically everywhere tonight. It's Supreme Court sides with Christian counselor, rules against Colorado ban. Same thing here in Breitbart. Supreme Court rules 8-1 against Colorado law banning so-called conversion therapy. On to the next story. All right. This is a crazy story here. A federal judge, I could say tyrannical lower court, inferior federal judge, orders Trump administration to halt construction on a privately funded White House ballroom. Trump responds. President Trump responding to the lying judge. Oh, the judge's ruling. I'm sorry, not lying judge. What am I saying? This was my wishful thinking. In the ballroom case, the judge said we have to get congressional approval. He is wrong. Congressional approval has never been given on anything in these circumstances, big or small, having to do with construction at the White House. In this case, even less so because the ballroom is being built with private donations. No federal taxpayer money. Yes. Don't forget, tomorrow is Back to the Moon and Birthright Citizenship SCOTUS. Yes. Yes, I'm going to try to record it if I can get up and get it all set up in time. I'm going to try to record it. That way, if anybody needs it, like Brock or somebody, I can get it to them. A federal judge on Tuesday ordered the privately funded White House ballroom construction project to be halted. U.S. District Judge Richard Leone, a George W. Bush appointee, temporarily halted construction on the ballroom. The judge said that Congress has to approve the construction project. A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to suspend its construction of the $400 million ballroom where it demolished the East Wing. The district judge in Washington granted a preservationist group's request for a preliminary injunction and halts President Donald Trump's ballroom project. Last summer, the Trump administration announced a White House ballroom construction project. For 150 years, presidents, administrations, and White House staff have longed for a large event space on the White House complex that can hold substantial more guests than currently allowed. Trump has expressed his commitment to solving the problem on behalf of future administrations and the American people. Yep. The White House is one of the most beautiful and historic buildings in the world, yet the White House is currently unable to host major functions honoring world leaders and other countries without having to install large and unsightly tents approximately 100 yards away from the main building entrance. The White House State Ballroom will be a much-needed and exquisite addition to the approximately 90,000 square feet of ornately designed and carefully crafted space with a seating capacity of 650 people, a significant increase from the 200-person seating capacity in the East Room of the White House. It says science and medicine are extremely censored industries. They ban political paraphernalia at university where I work, but they only enforce it one direction: alphabet flags and Fauci stickers. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts. Evening, status on Iran, and we'll be able to open the Strait of Hormuz. I think it's all going to work out. We're just going to have to wait and see. Just going to have to wait and see. He saved tax dollars for it. Yeah, he didn't, and no tax money was spent on this, so I don't understand how Congress would have to say anything. In recent weeks, President Trump has held several meetings with members of the White House staff, the National Park Service, the White House Military Office, and United States Secret Service to discuss design features and planning. Halting the ballroom now is beyond petty lawsuits. No limit to stupidity. Must have been that video they released yesterday triggering the snowflakes. Probably. But here's the thing. It's not actually stopped. Let me cut to the chase. Because the judge said, well, unless there's security reasons or something like that, which they said, well, they're putting a bunker underneath it and all this stuff, so that's why they're going to keep going. Hopefully I'm getting tired of listening to Barnes and Tucker yelling and screaming. Well, I hope so. By the way, why did gas jump back up today? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's still below $4 where I'm at. I mean, I know $3.95, $3.85 is high. I don't want it to be that high. I want it to be $1.85 to tell you the truth, or $1.25. But it is what it is. And, I don't think it'll be high long. So President Trump has chosen McCreary Architects as a lead architect, which is known for their classical architecture design and based in our nation's capital. Presidents in the modern era have faced challenges hosting major events because it has been untouched since President Harry Truman. I'm honored President Trump has entrusted me to help bring beautiful, necessary renovations to the People's House while preserving the elegance and classical design and historical importance. So they keep calling it the People's House. It is not the People's House. It's not the People's House. Congress, the House of Representatives, is the People's House. The White House is the executive's house. It's not the people's house. The Congress is the people's house. House of the people. The people's house. This is ridiculous. They're trying to swear. It was $7 in Washington. Wow. Isn't White House under national parks? It could be. I'm not sure. $4.49 for premium. Well, that's not bad. That's under $4 then for regular. What happened to the Venezuelan gas? It's coming. It's coming. It's executive branch. Yeah. Secure is noted, but where is that security for the people? I don't know. The construction team will be headed by Clark Construction Engineering Team. Ooh, I don't like Clark Construction. I've dealt with them. The project will begin in September 2025 and is expected to be completed long before end of Trump's term. Trump and other Patriot donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build a $200 million structure. The ballroom will be substantially separated from the main building, but at the same time, its theme and architectural heritage will almost be identical. So the East Wing was constructed in 1902, has been renovated and changed many times with a second story added in 1942. What else the ballroom used for? Underneath the ballroom, they're building a whole bunker complex. Gas was $4.99 today in Kissimmee, 93 octane. Really, that's high. That's high. The explosion of Port Arthur, Texas, might have something to do with Austin's gas prices. Yes. There was a major problem at the refinery. I think it was Valero Citgo refinery, something like that, right? Somewhere around something like that. But it didn't look that major though when I saw it. So the chief of staff, Susie Wiles, said the following: President Trump is a builder at heart and has extraordinary eye for detail. The president and the White House are fully committed to working with the appropriate organizations to preserve the special history of the White House. Shh, the bunker is secret. Yes. Yeah, I know. Well, Trump let the cat out of the bag the other day. He said something about it. Is NATO a wrap after France and fake fraud Baloney and Italy joined Spain banning U.S. aircraft? Did she really? Maloney did in Italy? For sit-down dinners when hosting other countries. Currently, they're held in tents outside. Yeah. $4 billion for the Federal Reserve building, no questions. Yeah, they're not allowed to even question it. Delays obvious. A judge told them, no. Judge Count Boasberg, the great, said, you are not allowed to question the Fed. You're not allowed to look at where all that money went. Let's be clear. Building a building like that, like the Fed, and it's costing billions of dollars, they're stealing money. If people truly knew what was about to happen in America, about 50% of the population, 95% of the government would try to escape the country. I think adding ballroom is fun, won't ruin anything. Yeah, insider information for you. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project halted by judge. What he will likely do next. So let's see. Here, is it going to actually say anything in this, or is it going to?
I did something today. We just got these in from the architects. A lot of people are talking about how beautiful the ballroom is. For 150 years, they've wanted to build a ballroom at the White House.
Oh, this is old. I'm not going to waste our time. This is old. This is an old video. This is when he first talked about it. So I don't want to play this. So the order from Judge Richard Leone, George W. Bush appointee, marks the first consequential setback Trump has endured. Unfortunately for the defendants, unless and until Congress blesses this project through statutory authorization, construction has to stop! ! But here's the good news. It's not too late for Congress to authorize the continued construction, Leon wrote in a 35-page opinion. The American people will benefit from branches of government exercising their constitutionally prescribed roles. Not a bad outcome, that. This judge is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But it says, Trump reading from the ruling pointed to passage where it states the president allowed to ensure the safety and security of the building and the grounds. That's what we're doing because everything has bulletproof glass. He explained in response to a question from the Post. It's bulletproof and ballistic proof is very thick, and like that, it's going 45 feet high, and every window is covered, every door is covered, the roof is drone proof. We have secure air handling systems. Bad things happen in the air. Based on that, he said construction can continue. We have all these things, so it's called I'm allowed to continue building as necessary, so think of that for the safety of the president. So we have these things and we're okay. Earlier, Trump bemoaned on Truth Social a litany of organizations like the National Trust for Historic Preservation that didn't sue, such as California for the controversial high-speed rail project or Federal Reserve for its over-budget renovations. That require parliamentary approval for combat missions outside of routine logistics. Yeah, well, everyone forgets that Pam brought back the death penalty for high crimes. Good evening, Bella. When I get someone arrested, I forgot Pam is still there. Yeah, I said. We've been preparing since the 70s. Yeah, I know. I know. It does look nice, yes. Referral occurred because no formal authorization was requested. The U.S. did not consult Italian military leadership before the aircraft were already in flight, violating bilateral defense agreements. Oh, is that you're talking about Italy? Okay. They rented everything. Plates are expected, but places with walls, windows, and roof makes more sense to me. The death penalty should never gone away. Bella's stuffy is not in a good place. Okay, I'll fix that. I fix it. All right, better for everyone. Thank you. No problem. Doesn't make much sense. So Leon repeatedly allowed construction to continue in December and February, though he did caution that the administration be prepared to have to knock down what it builds amid the litigation. Who does this judge think he is? Thinks he's a king or something? Yeah, we used to hang horse thieves, remember? Yeah, well. They don't want to have to say Trump built this and have the name on it forever in the White House. Yeah, that's what they want. They just hate Trump. Last month, Leon suggested National Trust would need to rework its lawsuit in order to get ballroom construction paused, which it ultimately did. Oh, so he's working with them. He's helping them, telling them how to do it. Yeah, you're welcome. And Bella didn't even move. Well, she's asleep. Defense Minister Guido Corsetto emphasized Italy remains a reliable ally. He stated that bases can be used after explicit government approval since the country is not participating in the war. Yeah, I love that dog, Bella. You missed Son's dog. Abby looks like Bella. Did the horse thieves even get a trial? They got a quick trial, very quick. Guilty. Over the weekend, Trump alluded to massive military complex being worked on in tandem with the ballroom project. The president also showcased the latest renditions of the design for the new ballroom, something that came on the heels of a scathing New York Times critique of the product. Well, New York Times can go suck an egg. Prior to the setback from Leon, Trump had overcome numerous hurdles to build the ballroom. Last month, for example, he got a green light from Washington, D.C.'s Commission on Fine Arts, which he staffed with loyalists. Also, the ballroom is designed to eclipse the size of the White House. Trump has publicly pushed for the White House to add a ballroom for well over a decade, having offered to pay for one when Barack Obama was president. Yes, make gallows great again. Yeah, it could be nice. Yeah, so Trump was going to pay for one under Obama. Talk about that's Trump, man. Never seen so much hate. It's crazy, right? They just hate Trump so much. Just can't get over it. Federal judge blocks ballroom construction. It's just crazy. Architect Shalom Barnes shows a site plan during a National Capital Planning Commission meeting. I mean, people are really going to flip when the party system is abolished. Enough surprise Pikachu faces to stun the entire globe. The party system, in my opinion, I have a fix that solves almost everything in this country immediately. The Congress, the House of Representatives, actually puts the number of representatives in there that they were supposed to have from jump, to actually represent the people. 70,000 for every 70,000 people in the country, you have a representative. That way, you can actually have your voices heard. Yeah. Did you see the Washington State governor sign a millionaire tax? I can hear the sound of wealth sucking out of his state. Well, that'll happen. So we read all this. We'll jump on. Let's go to this next story here. We got this next story here because this is the story of another judge. It says, I have some bad news for this activist judge. Congress defunded the Corporation for Broadcasting last summer because NPR and PBS do not, in fact, have a First Amendment right to push liberal propaganda with our tax dollars, as NPR CEO Catherine Maher learned the hard way.
Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You
Don't know where
tweeted
statement
that in
comes from.
reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I'd no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't. You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. Ha, how white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should
This
pay
is old,
reparations?
but it has to do
I
with
never
what
said that, sir.
the story.
Yes, you
This is old, KPT. It has to do with the story. So it has to do with the story that we're going to cover.
said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone
Seems
to
to
pay
be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as do I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe
to the
it's
full extent of the
morally
law.
wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
You
illegal.
tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my
You
time at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
Yeah. Miss Mayer was the head of NPR, National Public Radio, I believe, or PBS, one of the two. PBS or NPR, one of the two, right? Are the same thing. This man vapes. I do. I vape. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I still like to smoke cigars, but I don't smoke cigars inside my house because it stinks your house up. So I vape because it doesn't stink everything up. And I also chew Zyn. I have Zyn, but I don't do that because it messes with the way I talk. All are created equal, yes. I mostly switched to vaping, bro. Same, yeah. I love a solid cigar. Yes, I'm praying. I am praying that we normalize relations with Cuba simply so I could get some good cahibas. But I want the Cuban people to be free though first. I would rather them be free than me get cigars. But I think an added benefit of them being free and having not living under communism is me getting good Cuban cigars. So hey, so I have ulterior motives for wanting to free Cuba. I want their cigars. Yes. So let's see here. Yes. Obama judge blocks Trump executive order aimed at ending federal funding for NPR and PBS. Well, there's a problem for this judge, all right? Because Congress already did this. This was into law. Congress passed. So the judge is SOL with this order. A federal judge on Tuesday blocked President Trump's order aimed at ending funding for NPR and PBS. U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss, an Obama appointee, lashed out at President Trump and said he targeted PBS and NPR for their viewpoints. They're not allowed to have viewpoints. They're funded by us. There are fucking tax dollars, people. They don't get to have viewpoints. They get to tell the truth. That's it. The government is not allowed to do this shit to put you can't use tax dollars to push political viewpoints. Tobacco grown in Cuba, it must, if they make the cigars. There is tobacco grown in Cuba, but here's the thing. they don't get the wrappers. The outside wrappers are actually from other places because it's different. It's different. Yeah, the media is supposed to be independent. Supposed to be, but it's not. It's not. I thought that's all they did with our tax dollars. Well, pretty much. Pretty much. Last year, President Trump ended taxpayer subsidization of biased media. National Public Radio and the Public Broadcasting Service received taxpayer funds through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Unlike in 1967, when the CPB was established, today the media landscape is filled with abundant, diverse, and innovative news options. Government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence, the Trump White House previously announced. And paid for to manipulate, oh, wait, the CIA and FBI aren't supposed to exist either. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they used to actually, there was a law that banned the government from propagandizing us. I believe it was called the Smith-Mundt Act, M-U-N-D-T, but Obama had that repealed. At the very least, Americans have a right to expect that if their tax dollars fund public broadcasting at all, they fund only fair, accurate, unbiased, and nonpartisan news coverage. No media outlet has a constitutional right to taxpayer subsidies, and the government is entitled to determine which categories of activities to subsidize. Yeah, that's right. Catherine Mayer said, truth isn't what we're looking for. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's what she said. Truth is not what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, shame on Brian. Brian is enjoying pierogies, and we can't have any. It's terrible. It is. Yep, that's what she said. That is. The CPB fails to abide by these principles to the extent it subsidizes NPR and PBS, which viewpoints NPR and PBS promote does not matter. What does matter is that neither entity presents a fair, accurate, and unbiased portrayal of current events to taxpaying citizens. I therefore instruct the CPB Board of Directors and all executive departments and agencies to cease federal funding of NPR and PBS. On Tuesday, Randolph Moss blocked Trump's executive order ending taxpayer subsidization. It's difficult to conceive of clearer evidence that a government action is targeted at viewpoints that the president does not like and seeks to squelch. They're not supposed to have viewpoints. Don't you see the circular thing here? They're not supposed to have viewpoints. Have you checked Tampa near Ybor City? Squelch. Citing the First Amendment, a federal judge on Tuesday agreed to permanently block the Trump administration from implementing a presidential directive to end federal funding. They don't have any right to federal funding. This is what's ridiculous. Yeah, they say the famous line, this is an opinion show. Oh, well, pay for it yourself then. Yeah. The operational impact of district judge's decision was not immediately clear because both because it's likely be appealed and because too much damage to the public broadcasting system has already been done, both by the president and Congress. Moss ruled that President Trump's executive order ceasing funding is unlawful and unenforceable. The judge said the First Amendment right to free speech does not tolerate viewpoint discrimination and retaliation of this type. Oh, Ybor and Ari cigars? Well, I mean, I could get cigars around here. I just can't get Cubans, real Cubans. Hey, Villa Platte, what's up? Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Yes, definitely hit that like and smash and follow. Same thing from the Epoch Times. Judge rules Trump's order ending funding for NPS is unconstitutional. But, you know. So that's pretty much it. It's constitutional. So yeah, officials pointed to decisions such as NPR refusing to initially cover $1.79 a bag. Here's $5. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. Wow. With that means right now, folks, we are just $65 away from adding a first additional hour to the show. Thank you so much. We're only 65 away from adding an additional hour to the show. Thank you, Brian. It says, Alberta reached referendum threshold while Air Canada CEO booted after not giving condolences in Quebecois. It's pronounced Ybor City. Is it Ybor or Ybor? Okay, Ybor. Bro, they literally voted in a terrorist as president. Yeah, they did. What are you going to do? Osama. Yeah, what are you going to do? Officials pointed to decisions such as NPR's. Yeah. They have fueled partisan stuff. They refused to cover a story on a laptop that belonged to Hunter Biden. PBS featuring a drag queen on a program aimed at children as young as 3. How do we add an additional Bella? Well, last night everybody got a special treat. They got this meat frisky. That was last night, right? Was that last night or was that the night? I don't remember. You guys got the meat frisky. I don't know if it was Saturday or last night. I don't remember. Remember those red envelopes that went out at Bush Senior's funeral? Yeah, what was in those? The ones that said, they know everything, I'm sorry. NPR and PBS soon filed separate lawsuits that allege funding cuts were unconstitutional. NPR suit said the order violated First Amendment bedrock guarantees. In the court filings, government lawyers had said the order did not impose unconstitutional conditions on speech, but merely aligns the government's sponsorship of activities with its policy priorities. We need a frisky cam. I don't know how I would do that because she does not sit still. She's a cat. She does not sit still. I would have to put cameras under the beds because that's where she hides all the time. What's my thoughts on Krusty the Clown, Noem's husband situation? Freak show. Freak show. I just caught that, a little bit of it, and I think it's insane. I don't know. I got to look more into it. You can get cameras that go on the collars. Try that. That would be fun. I guess I could try. Moss said that he was declaring Trump's order illegal and unenforceable and barring all federal agencies named as defendants from implementing and enforcing it. This is a ridiculous ruling by an activist judge attempting to undermine the law. Abigail Jackson, a White House spokesman, told the Epoch Times in an email, NPR and PBS has no right to receive taxpayer funds, and Congress already voted to defund them. The Trump administration looks forward to ultimate victory on the issue. A PBS spokesperson told the Epoch Times via email that the outlet is thrilled with the decision. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the blackmail potential is astounding. It is. As we argued, Judge Moss ruled the executive order is textbook unconstitutional viewpoint discrimination. At PBS, we will continue to do what we've always done, serve our mission to educate and inspire all Americans as the nation's most trusted media institution. You ain't not. $200 total cat GoPro cam, yes. I don't know. It would have to be, how would it work? It would have to be connected by Bluetooth or something. It wouldn't be, Noem's husband is a clown, yeah. Thrilled, take more of my money. Yes, they are. You would just have to place the camera on Bella. Well, what? I don't know how that would work. Inspire me to throw my TV out the window, PBS. I don't know how that would work because the cat doesn't really go by Bella per se. Yeah, this is from AP. Citing First Amendment, federal judge blocks Trump's order funding for NPR Net. Well, I don't know about that. We got this. We got another judge, another crazy ruling. All right. Federal judge with a record of ruling against President Trump blocked his administration from terminating the parole of immigrants who entered the United States using the Biden administration app. So this judge thinks that you're not allowed to terminate the parole. I don't know because never used a GoPro, but a cat cam would be awesome. Is that toy migrating? She must have moved. PBS was awesome back in the 80s. Well, yeah, PBS in the 80s was pretty awesome. They had Sesame Street. They had all that stuff, and Mr. Rogers and everything. And what was the other one they had? Nova. But that was awesome. Thank you so much for the 10. With that 10, that means we are now just $55 away from adding a first additional hour to the show. To adding an additional hour, it could be the first additional hour, or it could be many additional hours, because, like I said, the show runs for approximately 2 hours, 2.5 hours, but we add for every $100 in total that comes in across all platforms, including gifted memberships and everything. We add an extra hour to the show. They had Electric Company with Spider-Man. Yes, they did. Bella did move the toy. Okay. Great Space Coaster was good, too. Federal judge ruled the supreme ruler must be put back in charge. Oh, my God. No, I liked it, too. Then Masterpiece Theater. Well, yeah, Masterpiece Theater was good, too. She kicked the stuffy down only 2 minutes after Jim fixed it. All right. Let me get it again. Bella Big snoring. Well, she's up. I grew up on PBS back in the 80s. I mean, I used to watch the stuff. I used to like the stuff. Great Space Coaster and Electric Company and was Romper Room on there? I used to watch Romper Room. Toy moved itself. Fish Orange Eyes Wide. Yes, the toy is alive. as long as the stuffy isn't next to her tail. Was that your spine breaking or the mic cracking? That was my spine. That was my back cracking when I moved. Yes, that was my back. No, it was my phone fell off my lap. My phone fell off my lap. I couldn't let that go, let it go on, but I'll So yeah, so. So another tyrannical lower court inferior judge says that Trump can't end the parole of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Yeah, what a vibe. Yeah. Rest in peace, spine. Mr. Green Jeans. Yeah, I had scoliosis surgery. Oh, wow. I've had 7 back surgeries. NPR used to be the perfect station to set my alarm to. No annoying commercials. Woke up to slow boredom. Titanium rods and bolts in the back. I've got rods and pins and a spinal cord stimulator installed in my back. Oh, crap. Haven't cooked dinner yet. Wow. Villa Allegra taught you Spanish? Oh, hola, ¿cómo estás, eh? Learning to walk again at 16 was a vibe. Oh, God. Man, that's horrible. They stimulated my spine. My spine is always stimulated. It's always getting shocked. Spinal cord. Want to bet? Trump probably can. A federal judge with a record of ruling against President Donald Trump blocked his administration from terminating the parole of immigrants who entered the United States using Biden administration app. Don't forget your brain trip. Well, maybe. Tuesday's ruling by U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs of Massachusetts. If you notice, if you pay attention, a lot of these cases are coming out of Massachusetts. And there's a reason, because those are packed with leftist liberals. Massachusetts, Delaware, are packed. Mr. Green Jeans was on his show when I was in the 3rd grade. Love Schoolhouse Rock, yeah. I'm just a bill. I want to become a real. I'm getting over here on Capitol Hill. Under President Joe Biden and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the federal government launched a Customs and Border Protection CBP-1 app in 2023. The app required non-citizens seeking asylum or other immigration relief to schedule appointments at ports of entry to obtain parole status, allowing them to remain in the U.S. ahead of their hearing. Hey, H.J. Remy, awesome seeing you here. Yeah, thanks. Captain Kangaroo. Yeah, Captain Kangaroo. Get it right. Massive 2 shits. Okay, you're sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. The Daily Signal depends on your support. April 2025, the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security terminated the parole of CBP-1 users and threatened them with detention or deportation. Burroughs ruled that the Trump administration's blanket revocation of parole was unlawful. Oh, really? Huh. Because the law actually states that parole must be given on a case-by-case basis, and it can be revoked on a mass scale. It's the opposite of what they did and what this judge is ruling. Star of the day, who will it be? Your vote may hold the key. It's up to you. Tell us who will be the start of the day. Yeah, the friendly giant. I'm of the belief most liberals in this country don't actually exist. Could be. He said they ordered the government to restore the parole status. The Venezuelan Association of Massachusetts, Massive 2 Shits, led the class action representing immigrants from Venezuela, Cuba, and Haiti. Revoking parole is not a matter of agency discretion, wrote Burroughs, a Barack Obama appointee. Thus, although the court may not review the antecedent decision, it may review the termination of parole to determine whether, as required by statute, it followed the decision by the secretary that the purposes of parole had been served. Like, this is a judge, even though it says that it's not reviewable by the court, says, well, I'm not reviewing that. I'm reviewing how she did it. Democracy Forward, a leftist group, and Massive 2 Shits Law Reform Institute represented plaintiffs. Today's ruling is a clear rejection of an administration that has tried to erase lawful status for hundreds of thousands of people with the click of a button. Oh, was that, wonder if there was a Gary Gnu overlay. Yeah. No GNUs is good GNUs with Gary Gnu. Our clients followed the law. They waited, registered, were inspected, were granted parole. Yeah, and parole can be revoked. Yeah, literally can't do this by law, does it anyway. Commies be like, yes, that's what they did. That's what this judge did. It's bars. It says it's not, the secretary's decision on parole is not reviewable. Burroughs has a record of left-leaning rulings in high-profile cases. In 2019, she ruled that Harvard did not unlawfully discriminate against Asians. Oh, The Supreme Court reversed her finding in 2023. In 2017, Burroughs imposed an injunction against Trump's first travel ban, which was later partially reversed by the Supreme Court. Oh, what do you know? In 2025, Burroughs struck down Trump administration federal freeze on Harvard. This is a pattern here. They keep going. Somehow they keep getting these same judges. She's getting paid to see what sticks to the wall. I guess they don't understand what the T in temporary stands for. I don't think they do. I don't think they understand it. I really don't. Okay. We got another story. This one out of Montana. It says, bill redefining sex signed nearly a year after it was passed. I think is a shitty headline because the bill isn't redefining sex. This bill is stating that sex is determined by your reproductive organs. I guess okay. Where's Ginger? I didn't see Ginger. Where's Ginger? Governor Greg Gianforte? Gianforte? How do you say that? Greg Gianforte. Last week signed a final bill passed during the 2025 legislative session defining sex in state law, likely spawning a protracted legal fight. A Senate Bill 437, which defines sex as only male or female, was signed on March 24th, 2026, but sat on the Republican House Speaker Brandon Lehr's desk for nearly a year. Senate President Matt Reger and signed the bill on April 21st, 2025. The bill is similar to Senate Bill 458, which also defines sex and was challenged in court. The earlier legislation was thrown out in the midst of the 2025 session, and Volusia County District Court Judge Leslie Halligan signaled at that time any similar bills would also be found unconstitutional. How is it unconstitutional to say that sex is limited to male and female? Magic mirror, a female wearing green outfit and hat, I think, swung out on vine rope, and not recall much, just looking through the mirror saying hi to others. If they leave a bill sitting on a desk, good chances are they are seditious conspiracists. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Last time I checked, we pay them to sign and vote for things, not alter them. Yeah. But Lehr said on Monday the Republicans were deliberate about protecting the law from legal challenges and the legislation would stand on its own. We believe the law should be evaluated on its own merits, not folded into broader challenges, and we are prepared to defend it. State Republicans have accused Montana judges of playing politics, which is why they sought to hold the bill long after the House and Senate passed it into law. The voters sent politicians to Helena to make laws, not to let activist judges tear it down the moment its ink dries. Yeah, I remember the Mirror and Romper room. They would see, I see KPT, I see Lucille, I see Pat, I see Karen, I see Just Dawn Soulless Ginger. Never presume the enemy is stupid. This is the art of war. Now, last year, Upper 7 law firm informed the state it would add claims against SB 437 to existing case against SB 458. ACLU of Montana filed the case and won, and the organization did not immediately respond to requests for comments. From the beginning, we took a deliberate approach to timing SB 437 to ensure it was well positioned as possible as it moves forward and faces legal challenges. That process has run its course, and this is the appropriate point for the bill to move forward. Multiple bills passed by Montana's legislature have targeted the state's transgender and intersex community, and last year, a Montana ACLU lobbyist testified SB 437 would essentially force transgender people to live a lie. What? Come on. So you're going to tell me that chicks with penises and women with beards and men with boobs, vaginas, are not living a lie? Come on. Glamis legislation changes and the definition across a broad swath of Montana laws, including those dealing with education, insurance, and even marriage. Sponsors of the legislation brought by state Republicans, as well as the governor, have said that they're bringing the laws in an effort to protect women. Romper, stomper, bomper, boo. I am one of the howdy doody, Kukla Fran, and Ollie and Ding Dong school of Miss Francis generation. Oh, yeah. I used to really like watching Thunderbirds. You remember Thunderbirds? It was like a claymation, like dolls show. It was like Team America World Police, the original. Cuba no longer has good cigars. When the wealthy tobacco farmers fled Cuba, they took the valuable seeds with them. Plaintiff in the lawsuit against SB 458 had an XY pattern, which under both bill and legislation would identify them as male. That plaintiff, however, has female genitalia, identifies as a woman, and will be forced to identify as a male on her wedding license. So it's a person that had surgery. Thunderbird scared the crap out of you as a child. I used to love it, man. That and then what was the one? What was the show that had all the? Oh man, I can't think of their names. I beg to differ on the cigars. I do too. I beg to differ. The one that had all the that whole family. Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, Super Marionation. Yeah. About 1 in 100 people are intersex, according to Planned Parenthood, which includes someone whose genitals do not correspond with their internal hormones or sex organs. I don't say it's 1 in 100. That's crazy. 1 in 100. No, it's not. So, Montana House Speaker defends decision to delay biological sex bill.
In state political news, Montana's House Speaker says it was justifiable to hold on to a bill from last year's legislative session to give it a better chance of getting its own hearing in court, but he allowed it to move forward last week because it no longer made sense to continue delaying it. Speaker Brandon Lear, a Republican from Savage, withheld his signature from SB 437, a bill seeking to define biological sex as male or female and fixed at birth. That meant it was in limbo, still alive, but not officially law. Lear says he wanted to keep SB 437 from being rolled into an existing court case where a judge struck down a similar law from 2023. But he says that case was dragged out and the original bill is not getting its due process, so there was no reason to keep waiting. Lear defends his procedural move.
Wait on. What are you doing?
We let the public know from day one what we were doing and why we hadn't signed it. I think this is a tool that's in our toolbox that we can use. I wish that this other case would have been heard and finalized, and then this case would have got a fair shot. And now, to us, it just doesn't seem like it's going to get a fair shot.
Also during the last legislative session, Republican lawmakers passed a bill that lets the main sponsor of a law request that a challenge to that law be heard in their home county. Lear sponsored some of the legislation at issue in the second held climate lawsuit filed against the state, and he sought to move that case to his home of Richland County in far eastern Montana.
Oh man, what's happening here? Why is there no sound?
Has been charged with 5 felony counts of sexual. A Helena man accused.
Oh, this is a different story. No wonder. So Helena, Montana Speaker of the House says it was justifiable to hold on a bill from last year. Hold on a second. Damn it. I have issues here. Oops. Ow. You got so many cords, and they're constantly doing stuff. Getting so many cords, speaker cords, headphones cords, and they're constantly getting caught under my wheels. So they held a beer. I held a beer. Yeah. Can we reinstitute the gladiatorial games? I don't know. Gladiatorial games? Gladiator games? Fraggle Rock, Wallace and Gromit. Incredible how they can blame high Washington State diesel prices on Iran when it's really our crazy taxes. Yes, it is. It's crazy. So this bill passed. Plaintiffs challenged a bill harmful to transgender and intersex in Montana. So we let the public know from day one that what we were doing and why we hadn't signed it. I think it's a tool in our toolbox we can use. I wish the other case would have been heard and finalized, and then this case would have got a fair shot. And now to us, it just doesn't seem like it's going to get a fair shot. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens with this bill. And then here's the AP says, what to know about Montana's new sex definition bill. So they put a picture up of a trans man pretending to be a woman. Rep Zoe Zephyr from Missoula, Montana. Nearly a year after it passed, Greg Gianforte signed a bill Thursday defining sex as binary based on a person's reproductive system. The move officially amends wide-ranging sections of Montana law to include new definitions of male and female sex and gender. It's largely similar to a 2023 law that was declared unconstitutional twice, but because its subject wasn't clear in its title, and a second in February because the judge found it violated the Equal Protection Clause. So how is this law different? What does it mean for Montanans? Why did it take so long? Let's break it down. It defines a male as an individual who naturally has, had, or will, or would have, but for a congenital anomaly or intentional or unintentional disruption, a reproductive system that uses an ova or egg for fertilization. So this takes into account if there's something going on. It doesn't say like, oh, you have an issue, so you can't have kids. That doesn't make them not a woman. Okay. It defines a male as someone with a reproductive system that uses sperm for fertilization. I mean, it also adds definitions of a man and woman, father and mother, based on definitions of male and female. The bill states that the term gender must considered a synonym for sex as defined in the new legislation. Its supporters of the new law says it wants categories of male and female to be cemented and consistent, which makes sense because, hey, look, we had a Supreme Court justice that couldn't define what a woman was, so maybe this would help her. Maybe this would help her. You know, I gotta fix Bellavision here. She's no. Looks like a full moon tonight. You think so? Looks like a full moon. So that's good, right? All right. Okay. Then we got, moving on to the next story, we have a massive hearing going underway to look into systems that allow drivers to take hands off the wheel be the focus of an NTSB hearing. So they're really trying to cut back, and this whole self-driving car thing, I think, is going to be an issue. The advanced systems that allow drivers to take their hands off the wheel while going down the road will be scrutinized again by federal investigators on Tuesday in connection with 2 fatal crashes involving Ford's Blue Cruise system. Sorry. So once again, Ford screwing stuff up. The National Transportation Safety Board is expected to recommend ways to improve these partially automated driving systems as it wraps up its investigation into the 2024 crashes in Texas and Pennsylvania that killed 3 people when a Ford Mustang Mach-E car slammed into vehicles that were stopped. The NTSB has previously investigated a number of other crashes involving similar systems, including Tesla's autopilot system. Why is she licking the floor or her paw? Ford and other automakers emphasize that these systems are not designed to replace human drivers sitting behind the wheel who have to be ready to take control at any time. The NTSB has said their investigation is examining the effectiveness of the systems and how well they monitor driver engagement. Yes. Mark Edwin Webb, anyone who trusts such technology deserves what they get. Stupid. Yes. I agree, Mark. I agree. It's April 1st and Ash Wednesday is coming soon. How the hell is it legal? I don't know. There's a lot of questions about this whole thing, like who's going to be responsible in a crash. Then why is Austin full of Waymo cars? I don't know. Missy Cummings, a professor of engineering and computing at George Mason University, said these crashes highlight some of the dangers of partially autonomous driving systems that allow people to disengage. Missy Cummings, a professor of engineering. Wow. I really want to learn about my engineering from someone named Missy. Like, that's not a slight or anything. I'm just saying, like, I would prefer it to be like, I don't know, Melissa, maybe, not Missy. But they are killing others. My dad was an April Fool, never got real cake until he joined the Navy. Thanks for remembering my name. I said I would remember, Mark, once you told me what it was. Allowing people to take their hands off the wheel will also mean they will likely take their minds off the driving task. Oh, okay. Ford's Blue Cruise system does allow drivers to take their hands off the steering wheel while it handles steering, braking, and acceleration on highways. The company says the system isn't fully autonomous, and it monitors drivers to make sure they pay attention to the road. There are no fully autonomous vehicles for sale to the public in the U.S. I saw a video of a delivery robot driving through a glass bus stop. That can happen. One of the crashes occurred in San Antonio, Texas, killing 1 person, while others have happened in Philadelphia, in which 2 people died. The driver in Philadelphia crash was later charged with DUI homicide. That criminal case is still pending with no trial date set. The Texas crash occurred on Interstate 10 in San Antonio. The NTSB report says the Mach-E struck the rear of an 1999 Honda CR-V that was stopped in the middle of 3 lanes around 9:50 p.m. The 56-year-old driver of the CR-V was killed. Was this just Was this just someone who was stopped in the middle of the road for no reason, or was this just stop traffic? Another driver who was able to avoid the CRV told investigators that neither his taillights nor hazards were working at the time. The other crash involving a Mach-E killed 2 people around 3:20 a.m. March 3rd in the northbound lanes of Interstate 95 in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania State Police said the Ford was in the left lane when it struck a stationary Hyundai Elantra that earlier had collided with the Toyota Prius. During the crash, the driver of the Prius who was outside of his vehicle was also struck and thrown into the southbound lanes. A person from the Hyundai was also on the roadway and was hit. Both young men died. Well, that's horrible. Horrible. It's horrible. 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 Local 10 from Philly says, systems that let drivers take their hands off the wheel don't improve safety. NTSB head says. So we read all this. Kathy Chase, president of Advocates for Highway Safety, said drivers who are already addicted to their cell phones thinks it's okay to check them while using these systems because they trust them. Well, I mean, what's the purpose of them? This is about Fox Business. No other state gave Trump a higher percentage of votes than Wyoming and Montana. Trump is saying the operation will be done in 3 more weeks. Will the strength be open with Marines? Straits? Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. We got to wait and see. The drivers are low, no false sense of security. So here, Philip Koopman, professor emeritus at Carnegie Mellon, an expert on self-driving vehicle safety, said the NPSV finding highlighting long-standing concerns about the limitations of these drivers' assistance systems and the fact that more advancements are needed. Bella is slimming down some. Yeah, a little bit. She's losing a little bit of weight. I changed her food up. It seems to have helped a little bit, the food change, like it's a high protein adult dog, weight, healthy weight food. So we'll see. Our brains are wired that if we think a system is going to take over and reliably handle a driving task, we get bored and we look for something else to do. A ban is needed. On these things? No, I just think people need to use them for what they are. They'll help you. You can't go to sleep. Bella wants to fit in her 2-piece by summer. Yeah. Sober human drivers, nothing else will do. I think, though, Mark, we should have a scale. I think we should have a system. There should be testing for people to drink, and you test them to see at what level of alcohol intoxication you can still safely drive. I think there should be a test for that. Because some people, like this whole thing, it's just flat out 0.08. Some people can't drive at 0.08 or 0.07 or 0.06. Some people can drive at, 0.15. So I think there should be a scale. You should have a special thing on your license saying you can drive at this level. That's what I think. But that's my opinion. Lucille says, quit advocating for banning things. That's not American. The NPSB has previously investigated a number of crashes, including similar systems, Tesla's autopilot system. Ford's Blue Crew system allows drivers to take their hands off the wheel. Like my my Lexus, you can't take your hands off the wheel. If you take your hands off the wheel, it alerts you and starts vibrating, and then it'll just shut off the system if your hands aren't on the wheel. So looking into this, I don't know. I would like the systems to work correctly. I think anything that helps people driving to stay inside lanes and stuff like that, like the auto lane things. You're saying I'd never trust any self-driving system. I don't care how reliable. The concept is insane. How would they determine that? A drinking test? Yeah, you would have to have a drinking test where you would have to get tested, and they would have to give you, you'd have to get a breathalyzer on a closed course for safety and everything. You get a breathalyzer, okay? And they say, okay, you're at, 0.10. And they're going to do basically all the driving stuff. You know what I'm saying? And if you do everything and you're like, okay, you pass at this level. There would be a long line at the cocaine driver testing center. Yeah. Yeah, because they'd have to give you the cocaine to take the test. So people would want to, part of the test, they got to provide it for you. So we already read all this stuff. So they're going to investigate all that. All right. Now this story out of Germany. Out of Germany, it says U.S. should start removing its troops from Germany, proposes the AfD co-leader Trulupa. What if missing a hand? Some people are toast at 0.05. Yeah, well, that's my point, KPT. That's my point. Everyone should be tested. And if you test and you can't drive at 0.05, then you're barred from being at 0.05. And if you blow 0.05, you're drunk driving. Class X driver's license. Yeah, something like that. Something. A lot of people shouldn't even be driving. Yeah, all right. So the AFD, Germans, the German that I could drink Canada Dry and still drive. I drink Canada Dry all the time. I drink gallons of Canada Dry. Alternative for Germany, AFD co-chair Tino Trupula spoke out in favor of withdrawing American troops from Germany. During a party congress in Saxony, he stressed that if AFD comes to power, this should be the first step in implementing the party's program, which calls for removal of all allied forces from Germany and a withdrawal from NATO's nuclear weapons sharing system. Yes, drink ginger beer. Yeah. Let's start implementing this program by withdrawing U.S. troops, he said, as reported by Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. The proposal received loud applause from the audience. He didn't get the pun. I did get the pun. I got the pun. Canada Dry makes ginger ale. I love it. They have a lemon ginger ale that's really good that I like. And I got it. You could drink Canada Dry, like drink all of Canada's liquor. I got the pun. I drink Shasta. It's the cheapest soda out there. I used to like, there was a soda called Canfields. Canfields or Wildwood. Wildwood soda was good when I was a kid. It used to be really cheap, a nickel a can. Frankfurters only cost a nickel. Cherupula argued that Germany should not be involved in international military operations, praising Spain for opposing the U.S. use of its bases for conflict with Iran. If we close German installations, Germany will change in a month and not in a good way. Yeah? Canada Dry, yes. Ritz, strawberry Ritz. You wish to remove troops from all countries, period. Yeah. Montana, it's legal to drive while drinking and no speed limit. His criticism of American troops on German soil comes after his sharp criticism of Trump's decision to launch a war against Iran. Well, I'm extremely disappointed in Donald Trump when it comes to his campaign promises, Charupa said to parents. Well, Trump never promised not to attack Iran. Trump said he was going to bomb the shit out of Iran. I mean, I played it on the show. Trump repeatedly said he's going to bomb the shit out of Iran if they don't stop screwing around. So, during the election campaign, he accused Kamala Harris that she would start World War III, and now we're on the cusp of having probably started the Third World War with Donald Trump. I don't agree with that. Hold on a second. Bella, you need to go outside? You need to go outside? All right, hold on one second. Hold on one second, everybody. Sorry. Oh, no. Damn it. Wrong thing. Hold on. My bad. Hold on. Hold on. I keep hitting the wrong button. I'm trying to fix the camera. I got to take Bella out. I got to let Bella out real quick. It'll only take a second. 1 second. Bella's itchy. Yeah, I'm going to let her out real quick. It'll only take a second. KPT in Florida, you just report them as having some type of handicap. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves. No. I'm going to let her out. My son's here. He's going to take her. Are you laying down now? Now you don't need to go out? Is that what you're telling me? All of this and you don't have to go out? What are you doing to me, Bella? I guess she doesn't have to go out. She changed her mind. Maybe she might have a nervous bladder, as we talked about her having to go pee. So maybe she's like, maybe now she changed her mind. Now she changed her mind. I guess she doesn't need to go out. He also stated that it's clear the United States was dragged into the war by Israel. Oh, so the AFD, which everyone is accusing of being Nazis, doesn't like Israel. Huh. It's a little inside humor there. 70% of Americans don't want this war and do not support it. Well, it's not the polling I've seen. It's not the polling I've seen. And I think the Americans, you can really see it now if you look at the events, were dragged into this war by Israel. There were serious negotiations where Oman, as a peacemaker, came to an agreement with Israel together with the USA, and they basically started bombing Iran on the same day. The Omani foreign minister has described this as a huge mistake. The entire Arab world is labeled as a mistake. The Norwegian foreign minister is described as a mistake. It's also been labeled a mistake by Turkey. You can't ignore all that. I can. I can ignore it all. Like this guy, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. These are countries in the region that are naturally extremely worried about all this will escalate into a conflagration. Conflagration. That's the word. Man, why am I having problems here? It's a huge wildfire. Oh my God. Wow. It's almost in his most recent speech, Tripula addressed Russia's war against Ukraine. He announced that AFD would bring about peace and that after the conflict ends, Ukrainians in Germany should return to their home country. Criticizing the current refugee benefit system. This is exactly what must end. All Ukrainians must go back. All Ukrainians must go back. Yeah, she's very uncomfortable that we were talking about her going to the bathroom. Yeah. Tripula's speech made it clear that AFD aims to take power in Germany at all costs. Typical indecisive women, yes. We must develop moving from an opposition party to a governing party, he said during a party convention in Labau. I think it's like what? Laubau, as quoted by Deutschwelle. Germany's next federal elections will take place on March 29th. At the time, Tripula plans for an AFD to have a prime minister in Saxony and an AFD chancellor. Uh-oh. Wasn't Hitler chancellor? As leader of Germany. Wasn't Hitler the chancellor? Tripula admitted that this requires further capacity building, noting that AFD must no longer be perceived as a single-party issue, presumably referring to its focus on implementing mass deportations, must demonstrate concrete results in government going forward. You remember the kitty now? Mm-hmm. At some point, we have to present our voters with successes. Oh, you think you're going to be successful fighting with Trump? Is that what you think? How do you think it's going to work out for you, Germany? Hold on one second. I don't want to be chancelled anyway. Yeah. So, read more here. There's more? Oh, there's more here. Oh, what do you know? So, U.S. should start removing troops from Germany. I don't want to join anything. So, Spain is not interfering in this war, he said. Blah, blah, blah. So, look at those prices. Those prices aren't bad. $226. Anyway, so that's same thing here. AFD demands U.S. troops leave Germany. Good. All right, I agree. Get the troops out of Germany. Get the troops out of all those countries. Bring them home, except for Poland. Leave the troops in Poland. Poland's cool. Germany's far right calls for U.S. troops to leave the country. Wow. Wow, that's interesting. The far right calls for Trump's. Must be the 80s. Yeah, it must be.
Having June 6th tomorrow, this is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant.
This was not a great
in
day.
the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
And we know what we owe you, but this is the reason why I'm saying that America is again in a very strong position to do something on this war and ending this war. So let's talk about what we can do jointly, and we are ready to do what we can. And you know that we gave support to Ukraine, and that we are looking for more.
Wasn't that odd, though, that Germany is supporting Ukraine and Ukraine has a bunch of Nazis running around? I'm just saying, Just saying, there's a bunch of Nazis in Ukraine. Germany supporting the Nazis in Ukraine. Seems like this keeps going around in circles. Next story. Here we go. We're going to keep moving fast. I got a lot of stories to cover tonight. You know that's $226 a liter, right? Oh, a liter? Oh, okay. Wow. Well, they've always had really high prices in foreign countries. Always. Thanks for being here, Renee Collins. Awesome seeing you. A liter. Yeah, try to make a joke, dude. Not think funny. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, It's like, just like Trump made the joke about Pearl Harbor with the Japanese. They thought that was great. The Japanese were like, this is awesome. He's not going to, we don't have to feel weird about it anymore. So the FBI says the Muslim who attacked Michigan's largest synagogue purposely targeted the Jewish community in an act of terrorism. You ain't kidding. Wow. Really? End jihad immigration. I agree. The FBI said on Monday, March 30th, that an attack on the largest Jewish temple in Michigan earlier this month was an act of terrorism inspired by Hezbollah. Gas stations love the high-priced stuff. Ayman Ghazali, a 41-year-old man who was born in Lebanon and became a U.S. citizen in 2016, killed himself during the March 12th attack when he crashed his truck into Temple Israel synagogue before opening fire on security.
Based on the evidence gathered to date, we assess this attack to be a Hezbollah-inspired act of terrorism, purposely targeting the Jewish community and the largest Jewish temple in Michigan. The FBI defines terrorism as a violent criminal act by an individual who is inspired by or associated with a designated foreign terrorist organization. We do not make this characterization lightly without a thorough review and keen evaluation of the facts. In this case, the evidence shows the attacker was motivated and inspired by Hezbollah's militant ideology.
Wow. Wow, the FBI actually calling it out for once. Normally it takes them years to admit it or to deny it. Yeah. What's next? The FBI is going to tell us the sky is blue and the grass is green. That's about $9.88 a gallon. Yeah, but what were the Gundam Zig? What was the prices in Europe before? I remember seeing prices like crazy high prices over there before. Like crazy high prices before in Europe and stuff like that. They've always, because they're like, Europe is all in on green energy, like, and that climate change stuff. So they've always been like putting huge prices on stuff to, like, oh, if you want to drive, you're going to have to pay because, the climate. So the attack on the Michigan synagogue was an Hezbollah-inspired act of terrorism. So it's a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon. I would wonder, what about, does he have any family members here that were also naturalized or to become citizens because of him? Because I think maybe they need to go to. Dozens of children were inside the synagogue at the time. His recovered online activity showed repeated searches for pro-Hezbollah news channels and for queries on the largest gatherings of Israelis in Michigan. And this makes a lot of sense because, just recently there was reporting about the Senate candidate in Michigan saying he didn't want to talk at all about the death of the Ayatollah because, a lot of people in his state, including him, were very upset because they thought he was a great leader and, mourned him. When I was there in 2004, it was around $7+ a gallon. Yeah. Use your windmill car. Yeah, that's right. There are optic strands all over Ukraine from drones, and media says this thing is happening in Iran with no proof. Yeah, Saudis used to pay like 39 cents a liter. Yeah, why would they pay anything, Saudi? It should be all free if you're in Saudi Arabia. They got it right there. Michigan synagogue attacker's brother was a Hezbollah commander, IDF says. Says Ghazali died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head during the attack. Yeah, wasn't this guy's brothers the ones killed because they were a part of the Rocket Brigade or something like that? Yeah, chain migration needs to be stopped. A foreign student in Canada can chain migrate his family. It's crazy. Was it Euros in 2007? Germany supporting the Nazis in Ukraine. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Yeah. That's what I like about these new Germans. The more things change, the more they stay the same. EU now pays $2.77 per liter. UAE, wow. Oh, Joe calls for a rally. Joe calls for a rally. Rally call for Joe. That's right, folks. We got approximately, approximately about 45 minutes or so. About approximately 45 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer for the show, unless we hit the goal. They add an extra hour. With Joe's $2, that means we are now $53 away from adding an extra hour to the show. $53 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you, Joe. So they're being shafted. It was euros back then. UAE is licking their lips. No others were killed, but a security guard was injured and multiple officers were treated for smoke inhalation. His history online over the past months included searches for videos about shootouts and bullets and for news coverage of an Iranian fatwa for the total jihad against the U.S. military. FBI special agent Jennifer Runyon said on Monday. Authorities noted that he also consumed live coverage about Naim Qassem. How did he consume it? He ate it? Yum, 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 yum. He consumed it? The Secretary General for Hezbollah, an Iranian-backed militia and political party designated by the U.S. as a foreign terrorist organization. Oh, look at this. We got another $2 from Terry. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry, for that $2. That means we are now $51 away, just $51 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you so much, Terry. U.S. dollar is oil standard. Petrodollar, they call it. In the days before the attack, Ghazali purchased an AR-style rifle along with 10 rifle magazines and about 300 rounds of ammunition. He also bought fireworks, torch lighters, and gallons of gasoline. Sounds like he's going on a camping trip. The days before the incident, he started adding photos to Facebook album he entitled Vengeance, including with images of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed during the first wave of strikes by the U.S. and Israel in the war with Iran. Hey, look at this. $5 from Brian Ogden. Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. With that, that means we are now just $46 away, just $46 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much. Joe's so generous. It's great. Greatly appreciated. Let's just say hashtag ITFDB. If you know, you know. Cleveland on soon. Okay. On March 12th, while parked at the temple, Ghazali sent his sister overseas videos, photos, and messages that reiterated his intent to commit a mass terrorist attack. Yes, thank you, Brian. Thank you. Diversity is our strength, that's strength and weak. Yeah. There's nothing, I mean, they always say that, and it's just like there really isn't anything, just look at the Tower of Babel, the whole thing about the Tower of Babel. They were all diverse. They couldn't talk to each other. Nobody could speak. How was that diversity strength? In a video sent just before the attack, Ghazali said in Arabic that he had booby-trapped his car. He then said, I will forcefully enter and start shooting at them. God willing, I will K as many of them as possibly can. So what? Oh, look at it. Oh, my God. That is gross. What the hell is this? That is disgusting. He also exchanged 5 short phone calls with his ex-wife, who called police and asked them to do a welfare check on him. Computers are now the Tower of Babel. Ghazali then drove his vehicle into the temple doors twice, the first time unsuccessfully. He exchanged gunfire with security guards before appearing to set off fireworks from inside his truck. The vehicle caught fire and the hallway filled with smoke. Ghazali was not the subject of or referenced in any prior FBI investigation, nor was he on a terrorist watch list. Like you would think if his brother was a member of Hezbollah, was like part of their rocket brigades, that he might be on a terrorist watch list. Maybe. Oh, Lisa comes in with another 2. Thank you, Lisa. That means we are now just $44 away from adding a first additional hour to the show. Thank you all so much. Thank you. If Ghazali had lived, he would have been charged with providing material support to Hezbollah, said Jerome Gorgon, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. In the days after the attack, the Israeli Defense Forces said Ghazali's brother was a Hezbollah commander who was recently killed in an airstrike. The BBC has not independently confirmed the brother's identity. Well, I think it's comfortable is Bella. Yes, she is. G Sharkman. Wow. Thank you, G Sharkman, for $5. Thank you so much. That means we are now just $39 away, just $39 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much. We're getting there. 21 more at $2. That's not even that much. Yes. When the sun flashes everything, the Tower of Babel will fall. Yes, thank you, G Sharkman. 5 on PayPal. Whoa, okay. Thank you so much, KPT. Hold on one second, sorry. Thank you so much, KPT, for the 5 on PayPal. And then another 5 for Brian Ogden. Thank you so much. So that's 10 off. That means we're now 29 away, just $29 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you so much. Thanks, Pete. Closing in. That's right. Thanks again. KBT Times. That's right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. So that's that. Let's see. And let me close some tabs. Take a real quick second here. Same thing from Epoch Times. It says Michigan synagogue attack was Hezbollah inspired, targeted children. Same thing from Gateway Pundit. FBI confirms the synagogue attacker was inspired by Hezbollah. Okay, now on to Tiger Woods. Next story. Tiger Woods was arrested in a DUI crash with white pills found in his pocket. So the white pills found in his pocket were hydrocodone, which is commonly, which is just a generic name of calling like hydrocodone is Vicodin, Norco, Loratabs, Loracet, Percocet, stuff like that. It's a common pill given for like pain relief. It's an opioid. I need this last quarter for the Aldi card. Okay, sorry. All right. Tic Tacs. Yeah. I may have 5 left in fun coupons. Okay. Well, thank you. Artemis launch time April 1st, 6:24 p.m. Yo, Spuds, what's up? Thank you so much. I saw what you posted in Rob's thing, and it worked. He did come over. Oh, here's another 5 from Brian Ogden. Wow, Brian. Super generous tonight. It's greatly appreciated. That means we are now just $24 away. We're just $24 away. That means we're just $2 dozen away. I'm listening and liked all the good stuff. Thank you, Iowa Backyard Cams. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, and KBT says 5 on YouTube gives Jim $350 if not using an Apple product. PayPal gives Jim $467 with tip 5. That's true. That's true. The two best ways to give are PayPal or Cash App. 2 best ways. No way we go to the moon. Fake. Yeah. I don't know. The moon is a space station, in my opinion.
Legendary golfer Tiger Woods is facing an uncertain future both on and off the course after he was arrested for a DUI following a rollover crash in Florida on Friday. He now faces 3 misdemeanors, including driving under the influence, property damage, and refusal to submit to a test. Officers say that Woods showed, quote, signs of impairment, but he blew triple zeros for alcohol, which leads investigators to believe that he was under the influence of, quote, some type of medication or drug. Now, this is Woods' 2nd arrest in the last 9 years and his 4th car crash dating back to 2009. You're looking at those incidents here. Now, Woods was also charged with a DUI in 2017 and suffered a near fatal crash in LA in 2021. You know, this is really sad, Emily. It was apparently a 30-mile-per-hour zone, and he clipped the back of a truck.
Yeah, estimated at perhaps going 65 miles an hour. The common denominator of these crashes and vehicle incidents that Tiger's been involved in is excessive speeding, in addition to the impairment and allegations of impairment in this particular case. So apparently, he is extremely private, and that is why he does not want someone driving him so that they don't know his whereabouts and those kinds of things. But it seems to me that that vector has long become stale. And there are many people within the golf and pro athlete industries that are essentially calling on there to be accountability and for him to retire. And that, you know, when you look at things through the lens of 2026, I think, frankly, we've seen someone.
Why would he need to retire?
Isn't it very?
Why would he need to retire because he has a DUI? What does that have to do with him golfing? I mean, come on. He doesn't need to retire. He just needs to get a driver or something. Like, I mean, he's an expert with the driver on the golf course, but it seems like he's not a very good, driver on the streets. He is half Asian. I just want to point that out. Maybe that's the problem here. The half Asian keeps causing all these accidents. It's a joke, people. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Very unfortunate situation that we all pray for recovery and all of those things, but has been allowed to get away with many things that the average American and perhaps another athlete would not, including, by the way, many of those statements by people like Johnny Manziel, who are like, I didn't get away with one. That's the whole point. There was accountability in my case, calling for accountability here. But at the end of the day, all I can say is thank God that no one was injured, including him.
But to that end, about just taking the private car, I mean, I read the report from people that he's a private person, but Harris, after so many incidents, you'd think that'd be top of mind.
Oh, please. People sign NDAs. You can pay somebody. It's not like he couldn't triple somebody's salary to say, keep your mouth shut and drive.
That's right. That's right. I did not see the rant. I'm sorry. I did not see it. I just saw it now. Thank you so much. Brian's Brain Socks. Not Brian. Brain Socks. Thanks for streaming. Well, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. That means right now we are $22 away, just $22 away from adding a first additional hour to the show. Thank you all so much. I almost hit the wrong button there. That would have been bad. Thank you. I got that rant. Thank you so much. Where are we at here? How can they charge him with DUI if he refuses to test? Well, they charge him with the DUI. They charge him with the DUI for failing because it's like an automatic thing if you don't take the test. But he blew and he came up all zeros. Was the white pill tested? Did he have a prescription? I don't know. He probably had. If he has a prescription and stuff and he has a pill on him, I don't see how he can get charged with possession or anything like that. I don't know how they prove any of this stuff. Like, I think they're just going to get him on the automatic. You didn't take the test we asked you to take. Now, he might be able to argue because he blew the breathalyzer, so he wasn't drinking. Like, I don't know. That's part of the problem with honestly with legalized marijuana and all the stuff, all the places, different drugs and stuff. That how do you know if somebody's actively high? Like, I know there's some tests they can do at your eyes. There's supposedly a test where they can monitor your eyes and how fast your eyes dilate, like dilation, like there's an actual something, but there's like a special machine that like almost like you would go to in an eye doctor where they do things to your eye to hit a light and they watch how long it takes for your eye to react. And they can somehow claim that they can tell how under the influence you are. But those things are not precise anyway, because different people have different reaction times anyway. And the differences between being under the influence and normal people's variances are not that much different. So I don't know. I don't know if there's actually right now an actual reliable test that you can use to determine if somebody is currently under the influence of something besides alcohol. Because blood tests, urine analysis, any of these things are not going to tell you when they did the drugs and if they're currently under the influence. Yeah, he can drive a bulb, just not a car. Let's see. He can afford a driver. Yes, he can't afford a driver? Oh. Can they prove all this? I don't think so. If they never tested him, how can they prove he was driving under the influence? I don't know. Does anyone really care about Woods anymore? I don't know. Because he is doing illegal shit. He is turtling. Okay. Land Rovers are top heavy. It was a urine test. Jim, did you get your rant? I've been swamped at work. Didn't see it. I did get it. It was $2. Just care is it ashamed he is so weak? Yeah. Sure, it took a great detective to figure that out. Yeah, looks like I'm a little late. What's up, guys? Hey, Wrench Turner, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Was there two rants or just the one? Oh, there was two rants. Sorry. Let me get this fixed here. There was two rants. This one is from Life Indifference. Since I haven't given in a while, here's what you need for the extra hour. Well, thank you so much.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
With that, folks, we hit the goal for an extra hour of show. So that means right now we are $100. Thank you so much, Life Indifferent. With that $22, that puts us $100 away from adding a second additional hour to the show. And as soon as the goal expires on YouTube, I will adjust it and I will return and drive him to the hookers. Because the PGA is pushing him to play, but he needs to stop to deal with his pain management. Are you saying Asians can't drive? No, I'm not saying they can't drive. I'm saying it's one of those things. He had time to ditch the pills. Tiger has proven he can't drive under influence. Thanks, Brain Socks. Here's your extra hour. Thank you so much, Life Indifferent. He refused a blood test with pills in his pocket. Rant 2, Electric Boogaloo, yes. Johnny Manziel isn't no Tiger Woods. There is DUI and DWI. I think he was hurt in a crash. I think he was too. One is alcohol, one is other drugs. Yeah. On the phone, maybe. Drugs should have never been made illegal in any form. It's a violation of freedom and liberty. I don't like the drug war or the drug laws in the U.S. I think it's been harmful to a lot of people. Afro Man just admits it. He has Charlie's tiger blood. Maybe he pleaded non-guilty. Okay. Nana, what's up, Nana? So great to see you, Nana 1776. Hello, I'm late. You're never late. You're right on time. Hi, Nana. DWI is alcohol. When I drive, the cannabis is under the influence of me. Okay, no rider. Only medical personal care can tell you're high unless the cop is certified in training. They get 100 years of experience is not enough. Yes, thank you so much. Extra hour it is. Yes, it is. Because of my physical condition, I walk around with levels of THC CBD that would probably make most people go night-night for a day. Well, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's different. And that's why the thing that I was talking about with the eyes and stuff like that, it's not really, it's like basically like, oh, it's right about, 60% of the time it's 100% right. Like, okay. Maybe the truck pulled over suddenly. Maybe it was a truck problem. Maybe. Yeah. Do no harm, no crime. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Yes. Hey, what's up, Jet? Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being a friend. Travel around the road and back again. Nancy Reagan's speech was just say no to drugs and alcohol. Overnight, it was just say no to drugs. Yeah.
Me to the 7-Eleven. I mean, give me a break. I don't think I even believe that. But let's just say it's true. It's ignorant. Like you have
ignorant.
People around you that can do the driving no matter how you have to remunerate them or whatever you have to do, but protect the other people on the road if you aren't going to drive with all your senses about you. By the way, a 0 on the alcohol test is what I've read. Didn't want to take another test that would what was more, toxicology, if you will, in terms of telling us what was in his bloodstream. Look, we don't know what was going on with him. But clearly, if this is what keeps happening in your life, something is wrong, and I just hope he gets help.
Maria, I mean, my phone lit up with that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't need to listen to more of this stuff from them, but is it illegal to put sour cream on pierogies? I know a bunch of people that do. I'm not a really big fan of sour cream on pierogies. I used to really like sour cream on my kugelas, right? Is that the potato with the bacon stuff? I think it's kugela, sour cream on kugela. It's a Lugan thing, potato thing. Do you think Trump is called off taking Carg Island and instead opted for negotiations? I don't. I think they're just waiting. I don't know if there's a different island they might be taking that has like a whole missile base underneath it. They're going to take some island. Maybe he was testing his self-driving system. Maybe. It's possible. Ank says, this is what I do not like about the bigots' war on drugs. Yeah. Actually, for some drugs, government regulations protecting your liberty, that is their duty. Okay, all right. I saute onions and then butter after I blanches them. I think blanched. Yeah, sour cream is fine. That's what I thought. I think if you're a heroin addict is liberated, you don't know any. If you think a heroin addict is liberated, you don't know any. Yeah. They insinuated and stated it was an excuse. They'll flush the drugs before we can get in. Oh yeah, they come in the house. Yeah, that's what they say. Apparently, Florida added this recently. Sauteed onions and then sour cream. There's no exceptions. So the 5-time Masters winner was arrested on charge of driving under the influence with property damage or refusal to submit to a blood alcohol level test. No, he didn't refuse to submit. No, he blew a BAL blood alcohol level. He blew triple zeros. If you can't have him blow triple zeros and then require a blood alcohol test. I don't see how this ain't right. It had to have been a drug test. It was a drug screen he said no to. According to arrest affidavit, deputies of the Martin County Sheriff's Office repeatedly observed signs of impairment at the scene. He was sweating profusely, and his movements appeared lethargic and slow. Maybe he was having a stroke. What happens if he goes in and a doctor says he had a mini stroke? Yeah, you guys didn't even realize it. He was sweating profusely. His speech was slurred. He was having a stroke. There's been many cases of people who are having a stroke and they thought was under the influence and they arrested him. I laughed because I heard cooking he blew. Yeah. Victimless crime should not exist. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah, blowing just proves he was not under the influence of alcohol. No, I know Ank, but they're saying that he failed to take a blood alcohol level test, a BAL. That's not a test they would have given him if he blew triple zeros. There's no excuse to give him a blood alcohol test if he blew triple zeros. They have no probable cause if he blew triple zeros. It would have had to been a different test. It would have to been a drug screen. Mm-hmm. According to arrest, Wood stated he was looking down at his cell phone and changing the radio station, did not notice the vehicle in front of him slowing down. Well, that's not supposed to be looking at your cell phone. Need a warrant to arrest? No, you can arrest people if you have probable cause to make certain arrests. You don't have to do. You can arrest them and then they indict them later. If you think any drug should be illegal, you do not understand what it means to be free. Research it and get back to me. You do not have freedom to become a slave. Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, there was a time when people were allowed to sell themselves into slavery. I hope he gets a good attorney and proves the driver lied. To me, it doesn't sound right. I mean, the whole thing, the car did not roll over. The car flipped onto its side and slid. So Brian says, if you get booked, blood test is lawful. Well, if he got booked, they could have got a warrant and just took his blood. They could have forced him to take his blood. If they have the right to take his blood, the judge would have ordered it. That's what they could have went and done, got a court order to take the blood. They didn't. I thought they could demand a blood draw with a warrant unless you're Tiger. No, if they got a warrant for the blood from a judge, they could have took the blood. They asked him, they said, we want you to, I thought it was a urinalysis. And he said no. The 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment of the United States abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. It doesn't forbid others from enslaving you. It makes a condition of slavery. It makes a condition of slavery itself. Well, yeah, I mean, except for in prison. They didn't. You could still be a slave in prison. They can still force you to work in prison for pennies or for nothing. Pupils were dilated. Okay. Woods was placed on arrest, and during a search, law enforcement found 2 white pills inside Woods' left side pant pocket. Okay, so he had 2 pills on him. What-de-do? The pills were later identified as hydrocodone, a prescription opioid pain relief. Woods previously told law enforcement prior to field sobriety tests that he underwent 7 back surgeries and over 20 operations on his leg, and I take a few prescription medications. At the jail, Woods submitted to a breathalyzer where he provided 0.0. Mr. Blutarski, 0.0 is no way to go through life, son. He declined to submit to a urine test, resulting in another charge. Well, if they're already arresting you and they arrested you, I would refuse to take the test too. Once they're already arrested you, why? You already arrested me. Friday's arrest marks Woods' second DUI with the last decade. He was taken in custody also in Jupiter Island after taking prescription drugs. In 2021, he got in a wreck that resulted in serious leg injuries that kept him off the golf course for an entire year. October 1st, 2025, Florida refusal of urinalysis guilty. Okay, well, thank you. Great stream. He started to unravel after his father died. It's, that can happen. It can happen. Woods was sweating profusely after Florida car crash. It was South Florida. It's very hot. Everybody sweats profusely outside in Florida. Just saying. Tiger Wood pleads not guilty as police note profuse sweating, bloodshot eyes, pills. Oh, okay. There he is sweating on camera right there. He sweats all the time. So Wood's plea came hours after the officers released an affidavit providing detail of the incident. So he pled not guilty. We'll have to wait and see. Woods pleads not guilty to DUI hours after authorities say he had opioids at the scene. So, all right, on to the next story now. Off Tiger Woods. I still like Tiger Woods. I'm a fan of Tiger Woods. I think he revolutionized golf. He made millions of people come to the game. I love golf. I've played golf since I was 10 years old. I love golf. On to the next story. Democrat Arizona governor vetoes the Charlie Kirk Highway. What's it say? Incoming raid, hide your wrenches. What? What happened? Who raided? I could take 4 hydros and you wouldn't even notice I'm on something. Exercise your rights. Is this still making headlines at this point? It's gossip. Why does GWT why does he get so much coverage? I don't know. I'm just saying. Green siren, green siren. It's literally the one duty the feds have to protect your liberty. It's okay. I love golf and gold. Yes, well, yes. F Tiger. Okay, well, everyone's entitled to their opinion. So the Democrat Arizona governor vetoes the Charlie Kirk Highway. There will be no Charlie Kirk Highway in his home state of Arizona. The reason? Politics. Exactly those whose politics is to blame has become a point of debate. Kirk, the conservative leader known for his campus debates, was assassinated last year during an event at Utah Valley University. Republicans in Arizona, where Kirk's Turning Point USA organization is based, passed legislation attempting to add Kirk's name to Loop 202, a highway circling through the sprawling Phoenix area. What's it say? A quick Google search of Florida law, Urinals refusal, night. What? The British are coming. I'll hide. Tiger was good for golf, so get out of jail free card. No, I don't think anybody should get a get out of jail free card. I just don't think, I don't know for a fact that Tiger Woods taking a couple pain pills caused this to happen with his car. That's all I'm saying. Like, if he was drunk driving, drinking, that's one thing, but taking a couple good night, you're going, okay. All right, well, good day is obvious. Thanks for being here. I don't think that taking a couple pain pills makes you unable to drive a car. I really don't. Because that would mean everyone who's prescribed those, given a prescription by a doctor, cannot legally drive a car. That would also mean that they are technically disabled and entitled to disability payments from Social Security in the United States. It's not against the law to refuse, but you'll lose your license for a year. Well, that's because it's a privilege to drive, even though it's a right to travel. It's crazy. Hank says, stay home and overdose. I don't care. Demon rat governor Katie Hobbs vetoed it on Friday. In a veto message to state lawmakers, Hobbs denounced political violence, but suggested that Republicans had inappropriately injected politics into a decision rightly left to a state board that names historic highways. Yeah, you aren't supposed to drive on pain pills. Jeez. No. I asked my doctor specifically that question, and the doctor said, no, you can drive. If you can't operate the vehicle, that's on you if you can't operate it. But if you can operate it, you can operate it. Because Social Security is not going to approve disability for everyone that gets a Vicodin prescription because they can't drive to work. It says on the bottle, be careful when operating heavy machinery. If you're on them for real pain, you build a tolerance, and you don't have the effects of someone that takes it once in a blue moon. Yeah. I will continue working towards solutions that bring people together, but this bill falls short of the standards by inserting politics into a function of government that should remain nonpartisan. Republican State Senator President Warren Peterson, who sponsored the legislation, said it was Hobbs who was practicing politics by breaking with a longstanding Arizona tradition of recognizing people who made an impact on society. The veto tells people that recognition now depends on political alignment, not contribution. That's not how Arizona has ever approached these decisions, and it's a disappointing shift for our state. Lawmakers in more than 20 states has introduced over 6 bills seeking to honor Kirk, according to Associated Press analysis using the bill tracking software, Plural. Many propose naming things after Kirk or creating an official day of remembrance. Others invoke Kirk's name for measures that would protect free speech rights on college campuses or encourage schools to teach about the role of Judeo-Christian values in American history. Oh, if you're in really bad pain, you wouldn't be driving. Let's think about that. I'm just telling you, man. Arizona and Florida were among the first states to give final approval to Kirk-inspired legislation. or first states. Florida Republican Governor DeSantis has yet to act on a bill that would designate a road in Miami-Dade County as Charlie Kirk Memorial Avenue, while also designating a road in Broward County as President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. There's a UCC statement to write on back of license. I canceled contract of government control. Look it up now. We'll post in a minute. I have drove under the influence. What is a Judeo-Christian? Never seen a church like that. Yes, that's exactly right. When I'm in so much pain that I have to smoke that much cannabis, I can't drive anyway. I'll bet Bronca would disagree with you on driving on pain pills. Oh, well, Bronca could disagree with me. And anybody can disagree with me. I'm just telling you what I was told by a medical professional when I asked about it and saying, well, wait, I can't go to work because I can't drive if I'm on these pills. And they said, oh, yeah, you can. And I was like, huh. Hey, Crazy Dude has rated the stream. Thank you so much, Crazy Dude. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Crazy Kukin has rated the stream. Thank you so much, man. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. I forgot to fix the thing over here right now. A Totoso. Katie rocks. And it just says, Hobbs breaks with tradition to veto a bill to rename Loop 202 after Charlie Kirk. Who would think that the woman who stole an election in Arizona would be for all this stuff? If the DMV could stop you from driving due to pain pills, why issue disabled plates, especially to vets who take nothing but pain pills? It's a good point, Joe. Very good point. Smash those buttons, yes. Smash them with a hammer. So Hobbs didn't just veto bills, she broke with a long-standing Arizona tradition. A Totoso. Yeah, what's up, Jason Ben Kazora? What's up? Beep. I can dig that. This veto makes it clear the standard has changed. It tells people that recognition now depends on political alignment, not contribution. This is crazy. It is. It's crazy. Let's see. We've got some local news to talk about it. Let's see what they have to say.
Governor Hobbs vetoes a bill that would have renamed the Loop 202 in honor of the late Charlie Kirk. The Turning Point co-founder was shot and killed during a debate event in Utah last year. This bill would have instructed ADOT to place signs along the freeway memorializing Kirk. Earlier this month, Hobbs also vetoed a bill that would have created a specialty license plate in Kirk's memory and raised money for the organization. Governor Hobbs sent a letter to the state Senate explaining her decision. It reads in part, quote, I will continue to work towards solutions that bring people together, but this bill falls short of that standard by inserting politics into a function of government that should remain nonpartisan. Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Andy Biggs put out a statement saying, quote, Katie Hobbs wants us to forget about Charlie Kirk. We won't. And we will honor him by voting her out in November.
Wow. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll have to pay attention to it. And it says Charlie Kirk Highway gets vetoed in Arizona. Elected officials are citing politics. Yeah, well, they wanted, there is political license plates for all types of organizations. Planned Parenthood license plates in Arizona, but they can't have one for Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk. Now the bullets don't match. It's wild. No, that's not exactly what's going on, Hamburger Helper. I read this stuff. They said they cannot verify where the bullets came from because they're so destroyed. That's what they say. They fragmented so much. We all knew it wasn't a high-powered 30-06. I don't know what it was, man. It could have been a soft point. It could have been something else. She said it was political. Yeah, she said it was political. But she made it political. So that's the thing. So here, since you guys brought it up, here we go. Prosecutors reveal what analysis of Charlie Kirk bullet and Tyler Robinson's gun really found. Let's see. I don't know. All right. I've seen this before. I'll stop that. I've seen that before. That was one of the things I thought they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be having microphones and stuff pointed at them when they're talking, because they should be able to, even if he's a piece of shit, even though he's a piece of shit who killed Charlie Kirk, he still has a right to talk to his lawyers and not be spied on by people around him to have a conversation like this. Y'all know you can fire a 9mm short from a 380. A 380 is a 9mm short. What are you talking about? It's the same exact diameter. A 380 is a 9mm short. It's a 9mm. It's just the length of the case is a different length. You got 9x17, 9x18, 9x19. 9x17 is a 380. 9x18 is a Makarov. 9x19 is a Luger. So, I don't know, like a 22 from a Glock. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. You don't believe he killed Charlie Kirk? Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he killed him or not. I will wait and see for the trial. From what I understand, supposedly he confessed. Yeah, 9mm short is a 380, is a Luger 380, is a Colt. Well, are you talking about you're talking about a Makarov 9x18? You got it there within microns. Well, I mean, I don't know. 9x17, 9x18, 9x19. I don't know. Was there a 9x16? There is some other ones. There's 9x21. There's all types of different 9mm. They're all different lengths of the cartridge and different things. So, anyway, I don't know. So it could have been a low-powered rifle cartridge. 9.16. The bullet that killed Charlie Kirk was so damaged that investigators could not confirm that it was fired from Tyler Robinson's gun. But that also doesn't mean it came from a different rifle, prosecutors said Tuesday. Claims emerged this week that the bullet jacket fragment recovered from Kirk's body didn't match the 30-06 hunting rifle Robinson allegedly used in September 2025 assassination, fanning online conspiracy theories about the conservative icon's death. Like, you had a Beretta 380 stamped 9mm short. Yeah, well, some of them will be stamped 9mm Corto. Some will be stamped 9mm Kurz. You know, they have all different. There's like a bunch of different names for the 380. Also has to do with a lot of countries say their things in metric, and the U.S. uses .380. You think strongly influenced maybe with drugs as well as sex? Maybe. They making a narrative? Claims emerged this week that bullet jacket fragments. So yeah. So like did they not find all the bullets because it passed through him and it like went somewhere else? It went through his body and out of his body? Is there I mean, I don't know. I don't have this information. Well, court documents revealed something different. Okay. And so they claims that the bullet fragment did not match the 30-06 hunting rifle Robinson allegedly used in September, fanning online conspiracy theories about the conservative icon's death. When the fragment was recovered during the autopsy and compared to the murder weapon found at the scene, the results of the comparison were inconclusive. Well, inconclusive doesn't mean it wasn't fired from that gun. It just means they can't determine if it was or wasn't. Thanks. You never got the full rundown on it. The result of the comparison was inconclusive according to court papers filed this month that reference findings from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Well, see, the ATF will do that because the ATF is just going to look at like the machine marks, tool marks, lands and grooves type of thing. But the FBI can actually do more testing where they can test the actual comparison of the metal to see if the metal is the exact same metal as the other bullets they found. Because didn't they find other bullets with other things like carved into them? They'll know if it came from that same stuff. They'll be able to tell, metallurgically, if it's the same exact metal made at the same time, same plant, like all this stuff. There's a lot of other. They can get into this stuff really crazy. I mean, Charlie's neck effed that round up like they thought. They're saying it hit his spine, is what I'm reading, which I don't know. DNA for bullets. Yeah, there's other testing they can do. Like, I don't know. The ATF report has not been made public and has only been referenced in court papers to date. And the FBI is still in the process of conducting its own analysis of the ballistic evidence. Robinson's team wrote in court papers from Friday. Robinson's lawyer want to postpone a May 18th hearing on the grounds they need to wait for those results and other evidence. And the defense suggested it might use the murky finding as evidence against the charge as he killed the 31-year-old during the Utah Valley University, September 10th, 2025. Do I know Ian Runkle? Well, I know who he is. I don't personally know Ian. He's an elf that lives in Canada who has magic guns, right? No, I know who he is. He's a Canadian gun lawyer, right? I watch his stuff. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. He also does a lot of help for kids and stuff like that. He does a lot of... you should invite him on. I don't see him covering this. He's way too big for me to invite on. Like, he's way bigger than me. I don't think he would come on. I'd love to have him on, but I don't think he would come on my show. I'm a small show. Close enough on the Runkle. Let's see what this says. Why are you doing this to me? What is it doing? Why is it doing this? It is evident from the foregoing that defense has been diligent in seeking available DNA discovery and retaining needed experts and providing them with discovery and formulating a reasonable working plan for completion of the defense independent analysis of the state's DNA evidence. What is preventing the plan from going forward is an incomplete status of the DNA discovery. Sorry if that's not your thing. No, it's totally, I would love to have him on. You're not understanding what I'm saying. Runkle's channel is way bigger than me. Like, I'd love to have him on. How do I get him to come on? You know what I mean? Like, invite him on. Like, he's way bigger than me. He goes a bigger channel. It doesn't work that way. You don't just, I'm here, not sure how long though. Well, Jay Henry, thanks for being here. Runkle is a cutie. Stop the bullet. What's it say? Putting your signature inside or someone's note near your signature is not a limited jurisdiction people in the U.S. have. Regarding the firearm evidence, the defense has been provided with an ATF summary report which indicates the ATF was able to identify the bullet recovered at the autopsy to the rifle. Although the state has not indicated an intent to produce this report at the preliminary hearing, the defense may very well decide to offer testimony to the ATF firearm analyst as exculpatory evidence. See, I don't think this is really exculpatory evidence, though. They're just saying they can't. It's inconclusive. That doesn't mean it's not a match. That doesn't mean it is a match. It means it's inconclusive. Ask Joe to ask him. Bet he would do it. Well, I can ask Joe to ask him. Sure, I'll ask Joe to ask him. Having lived in Florida and Missouri, I can tell you this. Crazy shit starts happening when objects take flight at high speeds. I've seen some weird things. Yes, that's the thing. You never know what's really going to happen when a bullet hits something. Like when it hits glass, when it hits drywall, when it hits soft tissue. They start to do weird things. They really do. I'm going to say most of us had conversations with them. You've had conversations with Runkle? Okay. Probably gun evidence will not be that big considering a text and all. That's what I'm saying. They have messages. From what I understand, they have people that say he admitted to it. So I don't know. I don't have the evidence. I don't know. All right? I don't know. I'm waiting for the trial to get the evidence. Will this light a fire under Candace Owens' ass, likely lead to Robinson found innocent, fueled by Joe Kent testimony? Well, here's the thing about the Joe Kent testimony. Joe Kent was not in any position to fucking investigate anything. He worked for the Counterterrorism Clearinghouse, which they were responsible for gathering up intelligence, packaging it, and giving it to the president and other people. It's not his job to investigate any fucking crimes. He was way over his skis to think he was going to investigate something. The FBI investigates crimes. Joe Kent did not work for the FBI. Joe Kent worked for the fucking CIA. And what happens when the CIA gets involved in murders? They're usually fucking behind them. There might be some slightly more brittle section in the lead that could cause plinko to break out. Oh, okay. I don't know. Stop the bullet that takes down deer. In order to make determinations necessary for the defense and its firearm expert to review the ATF case file and protocols relating to the examination, which have not been provided. If they just have a jacket fragment of the bullet, where's the lead? Where's the other parts of the bullet? You know what I mean? Not stopped. Stopped implies lodged. Redirected is perfectly plausible. Yeah. I don't know. Did they not? Is it possible if they did a shitty job securing the scene and finding the rest of the bullet that obviously went through him? Because I don't think there's no way, in my opinion, now this is my opinion, there's no way his neck stopped the 30-06. Stopped it. It had to pass through him. Sorry. Or at least shatter and pieces go other places. That's my opinion. That's all I'm saying. There are several other categories of incomplete forensic discovery outlined in the defense formal discovery request. Utah County Attorney's Office spokesman Chris Ballard said he can't comment on forensic testing and results, but he said when the results of the bullet fragment analysis come back as inconclusive, that means only that the fragment did not contain enough detail for the examiner to determine whether the characteristics on the fragment were consistent with having been fired by a particular firearm. He is dead, Joim. I agree, Jim. Okay. They carried those big white flags on horses because it repelled arrows. Okay. So you have all the secret info at your fingertips. You can't read it and come up with an idea. Isn't that what your job? What are you talking about? I'm telling you right now. I'm reading the info with you guys right now. That's part that bothers me. He didn't really pave over the scene. They did really pave over the scene a day or two after. I've just heard about that. Did they really do that? I heard something, and I didn't want to talk about it a lot because I wasn't sure what was true and what's not because I'm hearing things from different places. But I heard that they completely paved over everything and did a whole bunch of construction. And someone is trying to tell me that Tyler Robinson's father's construction company was the company that did it. Is that true? Joe Kent ran in my congressional district, so I followed him. He said the exact opposite of what he's saying now. I'm talking Joe Kent. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about me. All right. I'm not sure it's ever been confirmed. I think it was critiquing your assessment of Kent's job. No. His job is supposed to be collecting information. His job is not supposed to be investigating any fucking thing. He's supposed to take the information. It's a counterterrorism thing where they collect information and say like, oh, look at this. Not like, we're going to investigate this. It's like, no, you pass it on to people that actually investigate it. That's what it is. Plus, what does the etching in a bullet do to power trajectory, etc.? I don't know. Jim reads the news, but super cool. Yeah. It says, I had friends in college that were very well educated on the sovereign citizen paradigm. We agreed to disagree and then barbecue. Oh, Barnes New Massey is Joe Kent. Okay. So, regarding the firearm evidence, the defense has been provided with the ATF summary report, which indicates ATF's unidentified the bullet. Yeah, we saw that. I don't know. I don't think he's going to do good because his lawyer sucks. We saw her in the other case. News media previously opposed the motion to classify, blah, blah, blah. The defense may well decide to offer testimony to the firearm expert as exculpatory in order to make determinations necessary for the defense and its firearm expert to review the ATF case file. Robinson is accused of killing Kirk, the co-founder of Turning Point USA, during an event in Utah Valley. He's being held behind bars until his trial concludes. No, really? What? Internal, external, terminal velocities, basic ballistics, cavitation, destruction of bone tissue. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a firearm expert. I'm not a what happens to bullets expert when it hits stuff. I've hunted. I've seen what, stuff does to deer, what stuff does to, quail, pheasants, stuff like the duck. I don't know. Barnes is seeing something in Joe Kent that we don't. He thinks he's being set up by Trump. I don't know. I believe Barnes is suffering from broken clock syndrome. Light load, old powder, obstructed barrel. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's possible that if these bullets were like his grandfather's and they're from like World War II time, they could have been. I don't know. Could have been a thing. I don't know. Okay, that's that one. And then we got this here. We got shocking pictures of Kristi Noem's cross-dressing husband flaunting giant Frakes breasts revealed, sparking grave security concerns. You're done with Barnes. I was pretty upset when Barnes started attacking Eric Hunley and Mark Gruber the other night. I was like a week, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before. I was like, dude, what's wrong with you? These are people that are friends. You don't do, Viva's friends with these people. Don't do that. Ask Virginia and South Carolina if they feel their sovereignty today. How did this? Oh, this got messed up. Sorry. These are going to be out of order. So wild photos of Kristi Noem's cross-dressing hubby flaunting giant Frake breasts. This is crazy.
An online fetish community that allegedly feature Brian Noem, the husband of former Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. The Daily Mail obtained hundreds of messages, purportedly sent between the former Secretary of Homeland Security's husband and 3 women who are involved in the so-called bimbofication fetish scene. Leaked pics reportedly show Brian wearing comically oversized, lopsided breasts, complete with fake protruding nipples. Other pictures show the South Dakota insurance mogul, who has 3 children with Noem, clad in pink hot pants and a skin-tight, flesh-colored crop top, stuffed with enormous balloons made to resemble massive, cockeyed bazungas. According to reporting by the Daily Mail, Brian chatted up women from the online fetish scene, in which adult performers augment their breasts with massive amounts of saline to achieve a Barbie doll-like appearance. Representatives of Kristi told the Post the former DHS chief was, quote, devastated by the salacious allegations of her husband, and that the family was, quote, blindsided by this. In a 2022 interview with Elysian, Kristi Noem said that their family was an open book and transparent. The Daily Mail also spoke with national security experts who said the existence of the scandalous photographs could have made Kristi the subject to potential blackmail threats. Former CIA officer Mark Polymeropoulos told the outlet that the photos could be a, quote, tantalizing lead for a hostile intelligence service. Kristi was ousted from her role at DHS on March 5th after a pair of disastrous congressional hearings, including fumbling a question about whether she was having an affair with top aide Corey Lewandowski.
Have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House.
Lewandowski, who is also married, has been by Noem's side at high-profile events, even sitting side by side across from Guyanese President Irfan Ali during a meeting in the South American country earlier in March. President Trump shared surprise about Noem's husband's double life as a cross-dresser, telling the Daily Mail that he felt, quote, badly for the family. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything about it. That's too bad, the president said.
Wow. That's too bad. That's too bad. Too bad. Too sad. Wow. Wow. Well, you know what you would think, though, because the way the left likes all this stuff, maybe they would think they would like her now. Maybe she's going to be, maybe she'll run as a Democrat now. Yeah, rebuke blackmailers. Yeah. So now you can't be gay. I wish they would make up their mind. What am I supposed to think about these people? A lot of people are pissed about redactions. They should see how many redactions are in our Constitution made after the war. No vote or nothing. Just saying. No way this is rigged. Maybe. I don't know. She didn't disclose this to Trump. She's claiming she didn't. Then Trump said, shields. Yeah, probably. It's not like he was killing people or selling secrets, a freak show, but sort of harmless freak show. Like, I don't know. Like, there was always rumors, right, that she was screwing around with somebody else, like that their marriage broke up or something, or they weren't together anymore. I don't know. Maybe she found out and left. If she knew about this and didn't tell Trump, that's messed up. So the photos allegedly show Kristi Noem's husband wearing comically oversized lopsided breasts, complete with fake protruding nipples, to female members of an online fetish community. Hundreds of messages purportedly sent between the former Homeland Security's husband and 3 women who are involved in the so-called bimboification fetish scene. The kinky community involves people injecting their busts with freakishly large amounts of saline to pursue Barbie doll-like appearances. Well, Rekieta Law has raided the stream. What? Are you serious? You serious? You can't be serious. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Rekieta Law. Wow, that's amazing. Oh. Wow. That's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Rekieta Law. That was very nice of you. Did I really have to do a Life Imitates Bad TV show thing? I don't know. You can only make GS videos in the halls of Congress for it to be okay. Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, gay sex videos, yeah. South Dakota insurance mogul. What does that mean exactly? Welcome, Raiders. Remember to hit that like button. That's right. All right, I'm going to, no. His face is clearly visible in several photos. In others, he flashes more kissy face, pose with these pursing lips. The outlet spoke to national security expert said the existence of the photos could have made his wife subject to blackmail. It could have. Damaging information like this can be tantalizing lead for hostile intelligence service, said CI officer Mark Palmeropoulos. They approached the person and say, if you work with us, we won't expose this. Kristi Noem was ousted from her role after a pair of disastrous congressional hearings. Like, I wonder, did they scurry off to the janitor closet? I don't know. It was his premium stream. Oh, okay. As a man, I like boobies, but never wear them. That's right. That seems more like, who is this? Is that Kristi Noem? That's not Kristi Noem, is it? Is that Kristi Noem? Noem's rep said that he's devastated. Is this Kristi Noem when she was younger? Don't look nothing like her. Noem was devastated over the shocked photos. The family was blindsided by this. Well, all right. And then this was supposed to be next, not that. Attorney for alleged Chark assassin cites inconclusive ATF report to request a delay in trial. We did that story. And then this from the bombshell defense filing. ATF cannot identify bullet in Charlie Kirk assassination with accused rifle. We talked about this. We covered it. It's just saying that it was inconclusive. They couldn't verify any gun it came from. There was no way to verify it because the amount of material that they had didn't have anything to identify. No identification possible. So we'll have to wait and see what comes out in trial. All right, on to the next story here. Oh, crapola. I did not reset the goal. Damn it. All right. Well, we currently have, I'm not going to restart the goal on YouTube because it's already, I would have to, well, I guess I could do 30 minutes because I forgot to do it. Let me do 30 minutes, I guess. 20 super chats for 30 minutes. I forgot to restart it. Nobody reminded me to restart the goal. We are currently $100 away from adding a second hour to the show. And we ain't going to end in exactly 30 minutes. I'm going to let it go a little long. I'm going to let it go, technically we've been going for almost 3 hours now. We've been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So 30 minutes is, Yes. Oh, hey, what's up, Steve? Thanks for being here. Like and sub. He should have at least put a bra on. Can't even have hobbies. Yeah. What are you going to do? No matter. It's not going to happen. Georgia lawmakers consider collecting DNA from immigrants charged with minor crimes. I think they left out that they're illegal aliens. Illegal aliens. Over the past 3 decades, the collection of DNA from convicted criminals has become standard in the U.S. justice system, and many states now swab people arrested for serious crimes. Some jails, I think in some places, anybody who's booked into the county jail gets swabbed for DNA. Legislation awaiting the final vote in Georgia would take a step further by collecting DNA from people charged with less serious misdemeanors, but only if federal immigration authorities want them detained. That would include immigrants not ultimately deported. They keep saying immigrants or illegal aliens. WDEF, illegal aliens. The enacted Georgia's measure would make it a third state to single out aliens believed to be in the country illegally for the collection of genetic material. Florida passed a similar law in 2023, and Oklahoma in 2009 collected DNA from immigrants in the U.S. illegally, though it remains subject to funding. DNA for convicted persons. No, a lot of prisons do convicted. If you're convicted for anything and sent to prison, they take your DNA. But there's some, I can swear there's some states that if you're booked into the county jail, they take your DNA. Maybe it's for only certain crimes, but I'm pretty sure. The new legislation, but I mean, for misdemeanors, that's kind of pushing it. The new legislation comes as President Trump's administration seeks to expand the use of DNA and biometrics in immigration enforcement as it carries out a plan to deport millions of people from the U.S. Well, I would hopefully deport tens of millions of people. It's one example of something we're seeing across the landscape. The FBI launched a national DNA index in '98 to compile DNA samples submitted by federal, state, and local authorities. It's grown in size and scope and now contains more than 26 million DNA profiles. To say, hey, what's up, America First says aliens from Mars and we should send them back there. Hey, all. Yes. Many from people convicted of crime. A federal law enacted 20 years ago allowed the Attorney General to expand DNA collection of people arrested and to non-citizens detained under federal authority. Well, it's right there. It's a federal law. It says they can do it. But because of exceptions authorized by federal officials, few immigrants had their DNA collected. Oh, so the federal officials put exceptions in that weren't authorized by the law. They could keep it from all the breathalyzers they get. They could. That changed in 2020 during Trump's first term when a new Department of Justice rule took away much of that discretion. Over the next 5 years, the Department of Homeland Security added DNA profiles of more than 2.6 million detainees to the national database. According to analysis by the Center of Privacy and Technology, the department did not answer questions from the Associated Press about the percentage of detained immigrants whose DNA had been collected. But the department is looking to expand its authority. A proposed rule would allow to collect DNA, including from U.S. citizens, to determine family relationships in immigrant benefit cases. I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I personally think when they had these minor children that they were getting at the border, that they just showed up at the border and there was nobody there, and it's like, oh, we got to find somebody to go with, and then people show up and go, oh, we're their family. Like, I think they should have done some testing to make sure those were actually their family members. Just saying. Though many states collect DNA from people arrested for felonies, just 10 states collect it from people arrested for certain misdemeanors, such as sex offenses, and none collected for all misdemeanor arrests. According to the AP analysis of data completed by Boise State University Department of Criminal Justice. Karen says warrant needed. But under the Florida and Oklahoma laws, any arrest could lead to DNA collection for immigrants subject to federal detainer. The Georgia legislation would require DNA collection from immigrants facing any misdemeanor or felony charge if U.S. ICE has issued a detainer request but has not picked up the person within 48 hours. Georgia State Senator Tim Bearden, a Republican sponsoring the bill, described the measure as a means of solving crimes. Technology is changing quickly, and DNA is one of those things that help us tremendously when we're trying to make sure to bring to justice to victims in the state across the country. See, I don't know. Like, I don't trust DNA. I really don't. Hey, what's up, Kelly J? Thanks for being here. Rewinding. I don't get it. I don't trust it. I don't like the way when they talk about DNA, I don't understand why they can't just go, yes, this DNA matches. Like, why could they say, like, oh, it's 1 in 500 million or 1 in 500,000 or 1 in this and that? Like, it's all like probabilities. Like, how if they have the DNA, can't they just say, yes, the DNA matches? I don't get it. I'm just saying. I know it probably sounds stupid, but I don't trust it because of that. Because they always go, oh, and the way that they talk about it, like, oh, it should be, we had a combined mixture of this person, and it's this many times more likely to be this person than one unknown person than two unknown person. But it's like, DNA is just as unreliable as fingerprints if you really dig into it, just a few steps up from phrenology. That's what I think. That's what I really think after hearing the way they testify to it. I'm like, this doesn't sound like it's solid science. A 2024 Georgia law mandates that local law enforcement cooperate with federal authorities. This year's legislation would build upon that. I mean, even honestly, even if you like get a DNA test, like to say like, is this your kid type of thing? Like if the courts order that, they never go, yes, that's your kid. They go, oh, well, it's 98% sure it's your kid. It's like, what do you mean 98% sure? What do you mean 98 or 99 or even like that? I mean, seriously. And that's good. Like anything, they go, well, anything above this, we say yes. It's like, that's still not 100%. Every person that ever goes to jail has their DNA taken. We don't think that swabbing a person who's committing a traffic violation is a boon for public safety. The correlation between a broken taillight and a crime that's solvable with the DNA is pretty attenuated. Well, maybe, maybe not. People subject to federal immigration detainers aren't necessarily undocumented or deportable because they may later prove their legal presence. Oh, well, okay. What this really does is create a two-tiered system where some DNA would be collected based off the perception. The Supreme Court in 2013 upheld a Maryland law allowing DNA to be collected from people charged but not yet convicted of certain crimes. That law allows DNA to be added to a database after it's determined there is probable cause to detain someone, provided it's deleted if the person is not ultimately convicted. Oh, okay. The Maryland case is often cited as justification for an expansion of DNA collection. Is this a slippery slope? Is this one of those slippery slopes we're always told, like, when people say, oh, this is a slippery slope, they go, oh, slippery slope, what are you talking about? Is this really the slippery slope when then it's just you're falling and there's no way to collect it? There doesn't appear to be any kind of meaningful justification for states to step in to require the collection of DNA from non-citizens in their custody who have merely been accused of a crime, even a low-level crime. Well, it seems like this is just an effort to increase surveillance of non-citizens. Well, sure, they delete it. Yeah. Well, not if they get a match. What if they get a match that there was some other crime tied to them? Then they ain't deleting shit, I'll tell you that. Depends on the crime. After convicted, perhaps then. Any expansion of government is a cliff. Forget the slope. It never goes back. Yes, that's right. Anytime the government gets any power, they take away any rights, anything for you. Yeah. I do it for maps. Well, yeah, you got to have DNA testing for maps. That's how you know it's actually, you know where the map is at all times. You don't want it to get lost. You never want it to get lost. That's why you got to keep track of the maps. Georgia proposal to take DNA swabs from illegal aliens in custody. And this is under no warrant DNA collection. Any Georgians' genetic data could end up in police custody. Well, if they're an illegal, it's like I don't consider illegal aliens to be Georgians. They're not. And this is look at this. So we got this next story. Says ex-FBI agents sue Patel and DOJ over the firings. Or ballistic testing with maps. Well, yeah, we could do that. We can use maps for ballistic testing to test the size of the holes to make sure that they, just make sure that the holes are representative of how they're supposed to be. What would be the best thing to do is test the holes. Would be, I think. I say we should take every last drop of DNA from maps. Just store it, like keep it stored. That way you keep it segregated from anything else. We should have map segregation. I'm still trying to learn, not just being a Karen. Well, Karen, you're fine. You're fine. Learn rights, common law, know your government's abuse of people by control. Yeah. I'm still learning too. We're going to learn together. How's that? We'll all learn together. 3 former FBI agents sued the Department of Justice on Tuesday, alleging that the Bureau retaliated against them for their participation in investigations into President Donald Trump. Yeah. Then map compression, save space. Yes, we could put them all in like something that just like smushes them all together and makes them take up the least amount of space. They get like they have compression for like music and compression for saving digital files and stuff like that. Well, with physical maps, you would have to actually have a giant machine that could just compress them down into like vacuum seal them. Yeah, something like a space bag. Yes, a space bag. Like you put the vacuum on it and it like sucks all the air out. That way it takes all the extra space. So you can store them all in the closet. and keep them from coming out. Or like a garbage truck, yes. Anyway, yes. Some may differ. Car crushers, yes, anything. Yeah, so it says 3 former FBI agents sued the Department of Justice on Tuesday, alleging that the Bureau retaliated against them for their participation in investigations into Donald Trump. Michelle Ball, Jamie Garman, and Blair Tolman were fired in late 2025. The 3 were all involved in an investigation that preceded Special Counsel Jack Smith's probe into the Trump 2020 election challenges. The suit names the DOJ, FBI, Attorney General, and FBI Director Kash Patel as defendants. They claim they engaged in a retribution campaign against perceived political enemies. Trump returned to office on the promise to crack down on a deep state, and Patel has sought to upend some of the Bureau's established norms in order to address some of what Trump considered to be political abuses related to investigations involving him. That's it. That's the fucking story. That's all you got. That's it. Seriously, that's the story. That's it. That's the story. Wow. Okay. Let's see. A group of FBI agents is suing Patel and Attorney General, all of them, 3 former agents. The lawsuit was filed in D.C. Circuit Court. They were all seasoned investigators who primarily handled public corruption investigations and were assigned to Special Counsel Jack Smith's team. Well, Jack Smith broke the law, did a bunch of crooked shit, so the people that worked there didn't do anything about it, probably should get fired. Defendants, the current FBI Director Bondi, have since embarked on a public campaign to oust plaintiffs from federal service because defendants perceived them to be political opponents. No, they perceived them to have broke the law. A spokesman for the Justice Department FBI cannot immediately be reached for comment. Although there are only 3 named plaintiffs in the case, the lawsuit also represents a proposed class of other similarly situated former agents. Estimates that there are currently at least 50 former agents who were terminated in a similar way, and it says that number is expected to grow. Defendants have fired more than 50 FBI employees on the basis of their perceived political affiliation. No, they violated them for breaking the law, for doing illegal shit. And while disparaging the reputations and service, the proposed class represents a group of employees. And it also includes those who were fired for different political reasons that run the gamut from being wrongfully perceived to support BLM movement, displaying pride flags, having friendships with disfavored employees, being targeted by far-right media accounts. Oh, so this is just a thing that they're going to do, like, can we get 100 likes? We're only 12 away? Well, that would be nice if we could. Liking is free and it benefits the channel. Yes, it does. It would be nice if we can get 100 likes. I mean, we did have at one point over 300 people watching, so that would have been nice to get it done. You know, to get it done, we had over 300 people watching. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The people that kneeled. Patel should be fired for not firing more. That's what I say. Yay, only 10 now. Oh my God, California is freezing down to 55 tonight. A number of former agents who were fit into some of the categories named in the lawsuit have already filed separate complaints, including a handful of former agents who knelt during racial justice protests. Yes, all those people should be fired. In an effort to fend off political violence after the death of George Floyd. So, political violence, which was a crime, and it was their job to prevent crimes. Instead, they decided to kneel and surrender to political violence. Yeah, they should be fired. Are you simulcasting to Odyssey? No, I didn't even know Odyssey was still around. In the case of Arctic Frost's investigation, many of the former agents who worked on the probe were fired not long after the FBI released unredacted investigative materials to Congress. The lawsuit also alleged the FBI broke the law in releasing the materials, which were protected from disclosure by grand jury secrecy rules. Protect them from what they did. Yeah. Plaintiffs in the proposed class no longer have access to information necessary to rebut the false public charges against them. But even if they did, they still cannot share it. I have a place where they should go. It starts with a G, it ends in an O, and has an ITMO in the middle. ITM in the middle. Gitmo. Yes. Perhaps, if not already, heading to Gitmo. Yes, that's what I hope so. Same thing. 3 FBI agents filed class action lawsuit. Well, here's the thing. The class action lawsuit should not be approved because, Jim, my bad. I didn't know Odyssey was still around, really. I thought Odyssey went away. If it's still around, I'm streaming the 7 different platforms right now. So, I don't know. All right, on to the next story. This is a good one. Everyone pay attention to this. This is a good story. Ready? Here we go. Gold has its worst month since 2008 recession. Nice new accommodations at Gitmo, I hear. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, now you see why Corey Lewandowski is so appealing. Imagine being married to that, yeah. Why didn't the Republicans impeach Biden? Good question. Why not? Why not? Why the Iran war is hitting metal.
Okay, Jason Katz joining us now. Why are you encouraging people to, as you say, go long on gold?
The ship hasn't sailed for gold. We talked about this last week when gold was down nearly 25% from the high. Now it's down around 17%. It was down for a variety of reasons, notwithstanding the fact it became memeified and it got very crowded and speculative. And the perception now is that we have higher rates for longer, dollar strength as a result. Since gold doesn't pay a dividend, it's not as attractive. Yeah. But I think with inflation likely being higher for longer, the fact of the matter is it will start acting more like its normal attributes, and that is as a hedge. And by the way, Kevin Warsh is going to be cutting at least one time when he gets into his spot. So you need to get long. You could see 5,900 on gold in the next 12 to 18 months.
Would you play GLD? Or would you buy gold mining shares? Would you buy gold coins? How would you play it?
All of the above. I think you probably want to look in the ETF market for the most liquid way to play it.
Okay. All right. I'll have a look at that. It's 4,500 today. And you think it could go to 5,900. Okay. Moving on. The Labor Department has proposed
a
rule that would allow 401k plans to more easily include alternate assets like cryptocurrency and real estate.
Yeah, gold is speculative.
This is one of those watch what you wish for moments. I'm all for the democratization of investments that normal investors didn't have access to, a la private credit, private equity, hedge funds, but it cuts both ways. We see what's happening in private credit right now. So with that democratization must come proper disclosure and education. The people that invest in these products in their 401k best understand the lack of liquidity, the gates that prevent them from getting out if everyone hits the exits. They should probably do some module or test in order to become eligible.
A problem with buying metals, and this is not in any way, this is not financial advice. This is not in any way, shape, or form financial advice. Don't take my advice on anything financially. But the problem, as I always found investing in metals, is that you always have to pay a fee, a spot fee, which is a percentage. It's not a set cost. It's always a percentage. If you buy an ounce of gold, you got to pay a percentage. So it doesn't matter the price. You're always paying a percentage. And you have to pay the same percentage when you sell it. So you see, you're getting hit on your way in. You're getting hit on the way out. So that's the problem with it. I mean, obviously, the spot price. You're always paying, but you're always paying that fee basically to buy it or sell it. So, I mean, obviously if it doubles in price, it's not a problem. You can sell it, but you're still paying, the more it goes up, the higher that spot fee is. We're going back to gold-backed dollars? Maybe. Maybe. So it says gold is on track for its worst monthly decline since 2008 as a historic energy supply shock amid Iran war spooks investors who were hoping for interest rate cuts. Spot prices are poised to drop by 14% in March, the largest monthly fall since October 2008, when gold plummeted 16.8% during the Great Recession. Well, actually, I mean, it wasn't over 5,600 or something, then it dropped all the way down to 40, so it was almost like a 20% drop. You lose 20% after spot. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like 20% to buy it and then 20% to sell it. So it's like you're losing a lot of money. It's crazy. Gold futures had jumped 2.7% to settle at 4,600 an ounce, while the Dow Jones average rose more than 1,100 points. Futures ended the month down 11% or 582.9. Still, investors are concerned that a boost in inflation could delay interest rate cuts that hit the gold, which perform better alongside lower interest rates. While heightened geopolitical anxiety typically helps gold performance, the conflict has reheated fears of inflation as the Strait of Hormuz pushes oil prices well above $100 a barrel, sending gasoline to $4 a gallon on Tuesday, the highest level since 2022. Yes, but it was higher in 2022. For so long, the dollar continues to strengthen. Iran war remains localized and perceived as having a fairly short duration. The markets were largely expecting 2 interest rate cuts in 2026 before the war started. Go on eBay and buy your gold. There was actually, for a while, you could buy it at Costco. Costco was selling gold, but they just kept selling out of it because it was actually very reasonable to buy at Costco. It's not a trend reversal. It resets the position that's created the most compelling accumulation opportunity since 2013, said Trader Ninja of the declines in gold. What left the market was the leveraged speculative money, the tourists chasing momentum, and their exit is precisely the kind of washout that sets the floor for the next leg higher. Well, I guess, maybe, but it's always a risk. Maybe Fort Knox is still coming. Oh, that would be great. I really want to see what's in Fort Knox. I really want to see what's in Fort Knox. With that, we are now 98 away from adding a second additional hour to the show. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. It was a promise. It was a promise. I expect them to fulfill that promise. You think it's empty? Probably. Trump said a deal with Iran is probably close, though he warned that the U.S. would attack Iran's power plants, oil wells, and key energy hub at Karg Island if the agreement to reopen the strait is not reached within a week. American Twitter crossover. What's this? I'll have to look at that. What is this? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. All right. We'll look at that in a second. We will look at that in a second. The president told Zays he's willing to end the U.S. military campaign against Iran even if the strait is not open. It remains closed. So, And this I don't like. This story I didn't like. Riverside County Sheriff says his election fraud investigation is on hold. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said his election fraud investigation is on hold. He made the announcement calling out what he calls politically motivated lawsuits. You biffed it. It's Japan-America crossover on Twitter. Okay, I got it. New gold standard in Nevada, I heard years ago. This month, Bianco sees 611,000 ballots cast in Riverside County ahead of the November Prop 50 special election. He said he's investigating a complaint from a citizen group that pointed to an alleged 45,000 ballot discrepancy between the number of votes that were counted and the number of votes that were actually cast. That would be a problem. Eyewitness 7 News says Riverside County Sheriff running for governor suspends election probe. This is a commercial. Got a commercial here. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. 6, 3, 2, 1. Hulu.
Riverside County Sheriff and Republican candidate for governor Chad Bianco is suspending his election fraud investigation, citing mounting legal challenges from the state attorney general and a voting rights group. Bianco maintains there were irregularities in November's Prop 50 election, and his seizure of more than 650,000 ballots was legal and approved by a Riverside County judge. Just last week, Bianco seized even more ballots from a county election office after receiving orders from Attorney General Rob Bonta's office to stop. Bonta's office says it'll continue its petitions in the California Supreme Court and the County Superior Court.
Oh, well, I hope so. A Republican California sheriff received more than 500,000 ballots, said he has paused the probe, citing mounting legal challenges. The reversal comes after Demon Rat Attorney General Rob Bonta and the UCLA Voting Rights Project launched legal challenges last week, arguing the sheriff has no authority over election materials. How would the sheriff not? Who is supposed to have it then? Previously, he said the investigation and seizure of more than 650,000 ballots was legal and approved by a Riverside County judge. Bonta's office said it would continue its petitions in the California Supreme Court. Our focus is on what the sheriff does, not what he says. The UCLA Voting Rights Project, in a petition, now you know why they can't allow a recount, that's right. America was on the silver standard for a coin of the realm. It was a mistake, and let politicians change that. Yes, it was. Damn, I didn't think the sheriff was going to get bullied. I hope he keeps going. Well, I think he's just waiting for stuff. U.S. money was taken off the gold standard in the 70s. I don't think we have any reason to go back. It would benefit us, but not them. Yeah. Silver was taken by nickel. Our election law is clear that voted ballots are to remain in the custody of election officials, and nothing the sheriff has presented changes the basic rule. An attorney with the group is a statement. Oh, so you can never investigate anything. That's what they're saying, basically. You can never investigate anything. It would be a shame, wouldn't it, if the feds came in and grabbed them up? The dispute started in February and escalated this month when Bianco seized 1,000 boxes of election materials to investigate a complaint from a local citizens group about the ballot count in November 2025 special election. After Bonta ordered Bianco to halt his probe, the sheriff seized another 426 boxes of ballots last week. The ballot investigation came as President Trump has repeatedly disputed the results of the 2020 election, citing unsubstantiated instances of fraud. Well, no, I think a lot of those instances have been substantiated, especially these problems in Fulton County. That's why no one wants you to look. They can say everything's unsubstantiated if they refuse to let anybody look. That's what they've done. That's what they've done. Yeah. Refuse to show anything because they won't let anyone look. Here we go. This is a very, very disturbing story. For Chicago Bulls, Christianity is a fireable offense, but not drugs or resisting arrest. Chicago Bulls guard Jaden Ivey was waived Monday after calling so-called Pride Month unrighteousness. In a video posted to social media, Ivey said the world can proclaim LGBTQ, right? They can proclaim Pride Month, and the NBA, they proclaim it. They show to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on billboards. They proclaim it in the streets, unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? Who are they to say that this man is crazy? Ivey said. In response, the Chicago Bulls announced that the Bulls have waived him due to conduct detrimental to the team. So being a Christian is detrimental to the Chicago Bulls. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I hope they get sued into oblivion for this. Ivey pointed out that there's nothing detrimental in knowing that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. This is why my conduct is detrimental to the team. Why didn't they just say we don't agree with his stance on LGBTQ? Why didn't they say that? How is it detrimental to the team? What did I do to the team? What did I do to the players? I did nothing but practice with them and play with them, pass the ball to them, be a good teammate to them. So why is it that the NBA and the Chicago Bulls say that I'm detrimental to the team? How? Because I believe in the truth. Because I know Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And while Christianity may be detrimental to the Bulls, things like drunk driving are totally permissible. Ronnie Brewer was arrested February of 2014 for allegedly drunk driving. While a free agent at the time, he was then briefly re-signed by the Bulls just a few weeks later. Brewer pleaded no contest and was slapped with fines and probation. Joaquin Noah was arrested in 2008 and charged with a misdemeanor possession of marijuana and having an open alcohol container. He received a $200 fine, 6 months of probation, and eventually the charges were dropped. His career was not impacted. Yeah, Chicago Bull Craps, yeah, that's Bull. Pricksters, Bulls, yes. Jameson Curry, was a Bulls rookie, was arrested and charged with 2 misdemeanors for allegedly obstructing and resisting an officer and urinating in public. Curry was suspended for a single game. Mark Edwin Webb says, I'm very disappointed in Trump after initially really liking him. He's shown he's corrupt as the rest, even though he's done some positive things. Well, everybody has their opinions. The only way to the Father. We have no Kings rallies for like a week, and I can't believe what my eyes have seen. 7 churches, 7 colors. Curry was suspended for a single game. He was waived from the Bulls shortly after the incident, though the Bulls did not release any statement specifying it was due to his conduct. Yet, for professing his Christian faith, Ivey was axed. Wouldn't that be for firing based on religious beliefs, which I thought was illegal? Just saying. They said it was because of this. So this is going to be a problem, And it's not just, it's not just the NBA and it's not just the Bulls, all right? Because here is Patriots coach Mike Vrabel insinuates that Trayvon Henderson is not educated because he supports Jaden Ivey. Because, the one guy says, one of his,
Travion quoted some Bible verses supporting a Chicago Bulls player who got released for some comments that he made. And I just, how do you measure the line between conduct detrimental to the team, which is why the Bulls released the player in their view, and allowing a 23-year-old to, express his personal beliefs.
I think there is a fine line. I want to tell you, I love Travion. I love the person. He cares deeply about our team. He cares deeply about his faith. He cares deeply about his family, his wife, the people in our building. And so I want them to be able to express what they believe in their heart and in their mind, but also want to make sure that they're educated. And we want to be inclusive. Everything we want to do wants to provide an environment.
So he wants to re-educate the Christians to be more inclusive to the things that they find abominable. Oh, okay. So what is acceptance? Acceptance is just saying, this doesn't, this is ridiculous. No, this is where we're at. All of these leagues, in my opinion, should lose their protection. The NBA, the MLB, the NFL, the NHL, all of these organizations that do this shit should not be allowed to be a monopoly anymore. They are given the ability to be monopolies and control all this stuff. And they're doing this. They should be broken up. They're all monopoly. Should be broken up. Gotta go. No more. No more special protections. No more fucking money from us. No more tax breaks. No more bullshit. They should all go fuck themselves. We're paying these bunch of fucking idiots to run around and play a game and get paid, be multi-millionaires, and then we got tards like this guy going to say, you're not educated if you believe in Christ.
For people to, one, feel comfortable, but also to share their personal beliefs. And then also we represent the team and then we represent the organization.
Yeah. But wait, he wore a blue stand up to Jewish hate pin during his Coach of the Year acceptance speech. Oh, so he can do that, but he's okay to hate people. So he praises for his faith and courage for standing up for his faith and for the Bulls player, but then proceeds to throw him under the bus by saying he needs to be better educated. Hey, Coach, the only education he really needs is the Word of God. Maybe you should educate yourself by reading 1 Corinthians 6:9 for starters. Maybe. When he's asked about Jaden Ivey, he's my brother. If he goes down, I'm ready to go with him, and the league should waive my contract too. Well, reminds me again, wasn't the Patriots organization owned by a man getting massages and a coach that cheats? Yeah, make sure Trayvon's educated so he doesn't reflect poorly on the Patriots. That's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, millionaires that pay millions in taxes. They say the devil is welcome here. Beginning to question the recent moves, but perhaps for reasons of Operation Traps more tyrants, corruption everywhere. Mark progress is on. Sue, rights violated. Yes, and we should be able to record their games without express written consent. Definitely. Why pay to be abused? Yeah, just play. Just dribble the ball and shut up. He says you're ignorant if you believe in God. That's what he's saying. Do they know the Bible? I don't know. Kraft's wife was dead for years when he was arrested in Florida. Okay. Someone tell that asshole we're done dancing with the devil and he can F all the way off. Thanks, D. Humble. Thanks for being here. Am I less of a man if I think sports are dumb and gay? No, not at all. They're a diversion. They're a distraction to make people cheer. I mean, it goes back to Roman times. Remember bread and circuses, the gladiatorial games, fighting tiger, all this stuff. It's to distract us from our problems and distract us from what the government's doing. That's what all this shit is all about. It's the same shit. It's been going on for thousands of years. Yes, bread and circuses. Yes, same shit. But why are they protected and cramming this stuff down our throats? Because you know what? They're losing a lot of people. All their ratings are going down. People are sick of it. They don't want to hear it. Goes to Aztec Mayans. Yeah. How did that work for the NFL when Kaepernick took a knee? Billions in losses. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I have not watched an NFL game since they put the names of rapists and murderers on their helmets saying, oh my God, protect these people because all the cops are bad. Remember that? When they did that, I said, I'm done. No more. It's not allowed in my house. You want to watch a football game? Go to the bar. Go somewhere else. Don't watch it at my house. Don't put it on my TVs. I'm done. I would rather watch sports if they were fighting lions, not going to lie. Remember Lol, not I. You don't remember when they did that? Yeah, in 2020, during the George Floyd unrest and all this stuff. After the guy in Wisconsin who was trying to kidnap his kids, that after he beat his wife and all this stuff, had a knife with his kids trying to get him in the car, and when he dropped the knife, went after the cops shot him, and then, Kamala Harris went to the hospital with the guy who tried, who raped a woman, was trying to fucking, kidnap kids to see them, and the NFL put, end racism and things and put the names, Yeah. They did? Yeah, they did. Some research tax intake and BMOR during MLB, Jizz flag strikes and found the city and tax both took in more revenue during the strikes than when the games were played. Some made-up thought, hyping yourself? No, it's not a made-up thought. It happened. It happened. Bulls cut basketball star Jaden Ivey after saying the NBA celebrated Pride Month is unrighteousness. And a viral video, they proclaim the Pride Month. And they also say, join us for Pride Month. Oh, good.
The world can proclaim LGBTQ. Right? They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that man, this man is crazy?
I just want to point out too, all the stuff. This guy is black. I see there is hope. Yeah, Budweiser celebrated Pride Month with special cans, and we know what worked out for Budweiser. Yeah. Oh, he says, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the Bible expert. I just want to point out too that there's 7 deadly sins. 7 deadly sins. The first one is pride. Is one of the deadly sins. Pride cometh before the fall. Think about it. You got pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. These sins are considered the root of all other immoral behaviors. What are we doing here? They call it pride on purpose. 61 people watching have not hit the like button. People, please show you're with us. Well, yeah, It'd be nice, to have the like hit by the rest of the people here. We're at 97, so that means we got actually only 53 people watching have not hit the like button. But please do. What's in the box? What's in the box? That's right. Buzzwriter took a huge hit and is taking time to get back. Yeah. It'd be nice, But you remember, please hit the like button. So, Chicago Bulls have waived the guard due to conduct detrimental to the team. So they're saying that video was detrimental to the team. He's spoken in the past of dealing with depression. So they're going to try to say he's dealing with mental health things. That's what they're going to say. Oh, he has mental problems because they're going to say that his religion is a mental health problem. Same thing on Breitbart. Chicago Bulls waived Jaden Ivey after he criticized Pride Night. I mean, Chicago Bulls ditch Jaden Ivey for slamming NBA's unrighteousness celebration of Pride Month, becoming born again in the Holy Spirit, saved by Jesus Christ. Wow, that's kind of bad to be fired for that. And then just New York Post says, Bulls waive Jaden Ivey after anti-religion LGBTQ rants as mental health concerns. So, how is it anti-religion LGBTQ rants as mental health concerns emerge? They're trying to twist it and say that this guy has mental health problems because he believes in God? What? So that's believing in God is a mental condition according to them. Wow. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Pride is about mocking God. It is. It is. The alphabet group took God's promise and attached it to a sin, rainbow. Yeah, they did. Pride is obviously is fundamental for unisex. Yeah. Anti-religion. I don't get it. I don't understand this. How the New York Post is calling it anti-religion. The Bulls are cutting bait with Jay Ivey, waving the guard following comments on social media live streams against the LGBT community and the Catholic Church. Huh? He's been posting several lengthy videos on social media in recent weeks. The topic of NBA's support for Pride Month becoming one on Monday. The world can complain at whatever, Pride Month, unrighteousness. In another video, he called Catholicism a false religion. Okay, that he can have that opinion. That's his right. If he thinks his Baptist or his Protestant or his, whatever religion is the correct religion and the other ones are wrong, I mean, are they gonna cut all Muslims that are because they believe that their religion is right and everyone else is wrong? I mean, is that where they're at? No, I wasn't born going to church as faith and religion instead of Christ. Anti means instead of Christ. He played 4 games as the Bulls following a deal and struggled to regain his form he had with the Pistons. I am alive in Christ no matter what the basketball setting is. The NBA has not publicly commented on the situation. The Bulls had announced last week they would be shut down for the remainder of the season due to injuries. Anything but the religion the masses flock to. Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't. All right, I got a couple more stories to read. Let's open a few more tabs here. Let me see here real quick. I thought I had a few things over here. Well, this story is very upsetting right here. Very upsetting. All right. Representative David Morales justified the removal of the mural for Irina Zarutska to make sure that every community member who calls Providence home feels safe. They put up a mural for the woman who was murdered. All right. And they said, no, we don't support this. This is not part of our community. We don't support this. It's not part of our community. Like, what? It appears that memorializing a murder of an innocent woman makes some feel unsafe. This is nuts, isn't it? Isn't this crazy? The serpent is active everywhere. Be mindful and steadfast. The Antichrist comes impersonating Jesus. The true Jesus comes. That's when the people who are worshiping the Antichrist beg for mountains to fall on them and the gnashing of teeth happens. Democrat lawmaker sparks online firestorm after saying that Irina Zarutska mural doesn't align with the city's values. Doesn't align with the city's values. How? To honor someone who was murdered? Doesn't align with your city's values? But I'm sure you still have a George Floyd mural up there, right? Guy who held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. Guy who overdosed for eating a speedball bag of fentanyl and cocaine. That guy? Yeah, I'm sure. Sure you guys are all over his mural. That you would call somebody racist if they said to take that down. Is there no sound in this? Here's the mural that they were putting up of Irina Zarutska. And they're like, no, we got to get rid of this. Can't have this. It's got to go. Rocky says, what's so great about being murdered? Anybody can do that. It's beautiful. It looks very good, actually. A Rhode Island demon rat state representative facing a blowback on social media after claiming that a mural of Irina Zarutska, the Ukrainian woman who was brutally murdered while riding a North Carolina train, sparked national outrage, doesn't reflect the values of the city of Providence. They're always going to have the mafia up there in Providence. Ultimately, you guys know that movie? Ultimately, we want to make sure that every community member who calls Providence home feels safe. What, do you think Irina Zarutska felt safe on that train? And he told local media about the mural, and he's facing calls to be removed from an exterior of an LGBTQ club in downtown Providence. We can both agree that the mural behind us does not reflect Providence's values. You know what? Yeah. Why are you showing that offensive mural? Hurry, show the junkie Floyd. Yeah. You can't honor a white victim. That's what it's starting to seem like. The lawmaker's comments immediately sparked negative reaction from conservatives on social media. It should have sparked negative reactions from anybody who's not retarded. Yeah, look at him. Oh. What are his values? Elon Musk, who's reportedly involved in the mural project, posted. He cites people wanting to be safe as a reason to destroy the mural on a private building meant to honor a murdered woman. You can't imagine how crazy demon rats are in these blue bastards. You think you see on MSNBC is nuts. It's even worse in the bubble cities. You'd have to really try to murder me. Okay, well, took out Floyd. Yeah, lightning took out Floyd. Oh yeah, remember that? You saw that thing when the lightning took out the blasphemous picture of Floyd with the halo and all the stuff on him. Let's say I don't. It would take a lot to murder me since I don't frequent big cities or public transportation. I leave the house that often. Could it be the murderer is a member of a protected class? Maybe. There shouldn't be any protected classes, though, at all in this country. Honoring the memory of a Ukrainian immigrant, a refugee who had her throat slit on public transportation by a repeat offender with prior 14 arrests, doesn't reflect Providence's values? What value does a mural not reflect? Irina's death highlights the consequences of warped policies that keep violent criminals out of jail. Memorializing her reminds us that these policies create more victims and should be eliminated. Ted Cruz said Dems would prefer a mural celebrating her murderer. They all love Cesar Chavez. They did until they found out that he was against illegal aliens, and then now they're trying to get rid of him by saying, like, oh, in 1960, some woman said he had sex with her and he didn't get her permission, or he manipulated her or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Chavez was a communist piece of shit, but what they're trying to do him now just to protect illegal aliens is fucking ridiculous. Providence had a George Floyd mural and nobody called it divisive. Irina got murdered by a man arrested over a dozen times and the city couldn't let her face stay on a wall because the donor list was inconvenient. We means test grief now. Not to exploit the death of a refugee to push an agenda centered around fear and division. Oh, so fear. Don't be afraid of getting murdered even though it's happening. Let's see this. This is Scott Jennings. We'll be featuring this deranged lunatic on Scott Jennings' show today. So here's the person. This is what he's saying. Ready? Clearly a gay man.
Ultimately, we want to make sure that every community member that calls Providence home feels safe. And we can both agree that this mural behind us does not reflect Providence's values, nor does it reflect the creativity that we want to see in our city. Ultimately,
whoa. We don't agree. We don't agree with you. Yeah, just drink the Kool-Aid and it'll all be fine. Were you really asking Jim to show Floyd? No, that's what they were doing. I'm sure they have a Floyd thing. If you need some input from a subject like a professional that's very familiar in this topic and memory, original hand-painted mural in Bronx, New York City. Yeah. Liberals despise the late Ukrainian refugee and deface the memorials to her. Yeah, look what they're doing. Please vandalize this because they want the illegals. They want the criminals. Remember this face before you vote for a demon rat ever again. Remember. Yeah, here, we were talking about this a little bit earlier about the Michigan Hezbollah guy. 101 likes and 159 watching. Can you get close to chat for a second like? It helps Jim's. It's free. Yes, thank you. You saw the video. We don't agree. I saw the video. Yeah. CNN panel melts down after Lydia Moynihan says a demon rat in Michigan in a leaked tape said, "I don't want to criticize the Ayatollah because too many constituents in Dearborn are devastated that he's dead." One of those constituents went on to shoot up a synagogue. Here's Anna fucking.
What's more troubling to me than a podcaster saying, should we be pushing for regime change, is the fact that you have Democratic candidates, a Democratic candidate in Michigan who basically in a leaked tape today said, I don't want to criticize the Ayatollah because too many constituents in Michigan are devastated that he's dead. So that's something that I think is much more concerning than Megyn Kelly
Democratic candidate.
Yes, El Sayed for Michigan. Said there are a lot of people in Dearborn who are sad about his death.
Because they're sad.
I would much rather see a party have a debate and stay silent.
Until that candidate in Michigan is commander-in-chief and actually can do something about the war, I'm going to give what Trump says and what the people around him say more important.
I would like to see
I do think that
Ayatollah roundly condemned. I think that's something we should all agree on as Americans.
No,
Sure.
nobody's ever not condemned the Ayatollah.
But on the question of what the president of the United States
but the problem is,
what's more troubling to me.
Anna Navarro, I don't know why anybody even listens to her. She's such a fucking fraud. Same old strategy. She presents facts, starts reading the exact quote, and they talk over her so that the two people who aren't actually watching CNN can't hear what she's saying. And it's crazy. It's nuts. It really is. Look at this. CNN, Anna Abby Phillips goes on a rage-filled rant against President Trump. Scott Jennings, are you guys really that mad about the White House ballroom?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the middle of a war, and that is such an important point. And the president is walking around with giant renderings of a ballroom that no one has approved, that he just has come up with out of his own mind.
Who's supposed to approve it? You, Abby Phillips? You fucking
all the other
twat.
things. His name is going on an airport in Florida. Okay, fine. He wants to put his name on the Kennedy Center, which is also going to be challenged. He put his name on the Institute of Peace. He's signing currency, which has never been done before from a sitting president. This is stuff that you see in let's put it this way, non-democratic nations, not things that you see in the United States of America.
Are you guys really that mad about the ballroom? I mean, honestly, there's a giant hole in the ground now. What are we going to do? Just leave it there? When you get the government involved in building stuff, ask the people in California what happens when the government gets involved in building stuff. You don't build anything. There's a big hole. I agree.
This is like saying, we burned down the house, so what are we going to do?
Yeah,
I guess we have
question.
to rebuild
it.
He tore down the ballroom.
At a private contribution.
I think it's fair for Americans to be upset
about what he
tearing down the East Wing.
Which I think has tremendous historical value that nobody even bothered to save anywhere. I am pissed at what he's done to Jackie Kennedy's garden. The thing I'm most pissed off?
Wait, Jackie Kennedy's garden that Barack Obama put a fucking basketball court over? That's what you're talking about? You didn't say shit when Obama put a fucking basketball court there.
About? No, I care a lot more about the people that have gotten killed in the streets of Minneapolis, but I think it's pretty outrageous that he is acting like a king and destroying history.
Should we leave it?
Leave it what?
Should we leave a hole in the ground?
No, maybe we should ask architects and a board of people that know this.
Maybe he should go to Congress.
I don't mind that. If they want to approve it, fine. It's being paid for by private donations. If Congress needs to put a single line in a bill that says, by all means, build a ballroom, fine with me. You could probably get the Republicans to do that.
Why do you think
every
Trump
president has wanted, by the way, a bigger and better facility?
But why do you think Trump didn't bother? If he was going to, if this was such an easy ask, you go to Congress, you ask them to just, create a little line. They don't have to appropriate any money, no problem. Why didn't he just do that in the first place?
Well, they have a different legal interpretation that they don't need it. A, B, and again, you get government involved in building stuff, and things simply just don't happen.
Yeah, and things just simply do not happen. They really don't. Well, I don't know, man. That's crazy. It's nuts. It's just nuts what's going on in this world. Yeah, because Trump is stopped at every door. Yeah, it's like things that he's doing that are completely on the up and up. You got district court judges that go in there and they just tell them, nope, you can't do it, stop, even though then they get overturned. I mean, like the only case so far that Trump has lost at when it's gone up to the higher court is the fucking tariff case. And that wasn't even like a loss because they're like, well, you can do it other ways. This way is not right. And they were able to do it other ways. But I mean, other than that, what else has he lost at a higher court? Everything has been overturned when it gets to a higher court. Everything. And it's beyond ridiculous that this keeps happening. It really is. I don't get it. I don't know why we can't just, I mean, we elected this person, and why are we dealing with this stuff like this? I don't get it. I really don't get it. You know, why is he being blocked at every step of the way? I don't know. Well, everybody, I want to thank everybody who was here. We did not hit the goal for the additional second hour. We went an extra half hour over the additional hour anyway. The tariff case wasn't a loss. He forced a major exploit hole that Obama used close. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, tomorrow's Wednesday. I think I'm going to stream tomorrow night, but it'll be later. It'll be like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Send us to Joe. Yes, I am. You're going to go to Joe. I want to thank everybody who was here. Please remember to hit the like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And please come back for Jim to tell you the news.